Hey there, REM PCs. Welcome to Rules of Cool, where we interview very special guests, creators, gamers, designers, and world builders. I'm your host, Rem, and today we've got a whole panel of sci-fi authors brought together to work on one common story, The Tears of Perseus. I'll be chatting with the legendary Kevin J. Anderson, Jennifer Brozek, Kevin Steverson, William Allen Webb, DJ Bodden, and Kevin McLaughlin. This week's giveaway is a free digital set of the entire series of Tears of Perseus, including the yet unreleased sixth story. Type hashtag REMPC in the chat for your free entry to win, and don't forget that bits and subs get you additional bonus entries to win. Every 100 bits gets you a bonus entry, and subscribing gets you 7 whole bonus entries. Now, getting into the story, is this the end of humankind or the beginning of something new? Witness the fall of the Federation. Across 6 stories told by 6 veteran sci-fi authors, the Tears of Perseus series is a saga of rebellion from a colony's founding day to the final shots of the war. Each story is connected to the others and moves the doomsday clock forward, but the situation is far from hopeless. It's up to a dozen characters over the course of 300 years to chart a path to survival. This is a story of good people in bad situations and of perseverance at all costs, full of high-stakes decisions, high-tech military action, interstellar intrigue, and large-scale battles. Experience the conflict that almost ended it all. In humanity's darkest hour, establish your legacy, stand your ground, free your people, protect your homeworld, and hold fast against an implacable foe. Find out how we survive and if the species that emerges from the nuclear fire was worth saving. Now, time to get right into our conversation for this week. So stay tuned, REM PCs. Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to my special guest today. I'm so excited to have you all on. I've been looking forward to this for weeks. I want to get right into it because we have a lot to talk about today. So we're going to do our first round with some of my favorite questions here. How did you first discover sci-fi or gaming? So go ahead and introduce yourself. I think we're going to go in the novella order, and then say how you got into sci-fi or gaming.
Okay, so I guess I am starting first. My name's Jennifer Brozek. I have actually forgotten the first question already because I have a cat sitting right here who's tapping me.
How did you discover sci-fi or gaming?
I remember back in the early 1970s sneaking down the stairs to watch Star Trek, the original Star Trek. While my parents watched it in Fort Dix, New Jersey.
Nice.
And eventually they allowed us to come just watch it with us. And then when we went to Belgium, I didn't have a TV, so I got into library. Books became my life. And my mom was a voracious reader, and she had all of the greats, very much all the sci-fi, Asimov and uh, Herbert, Lazarus Long, all the dead white guys that I really like. I can't remember.
Awesome.
My dad had the Destroyer, the Mac Bolan books. So I absolutely love them too, and Ian Fleming. So that's how I got into it.
Awesome. All right, who's next?
That would be me. My name is Kevin Steverson. I just remember in the 80s, going through my mom's collection of books. She was an avid reader, and it was all science fiction. She had stacks of the Analog magazine and Asimov, and just reading, Verne and Wells and Heinlein, and even some of the older stuff, James Blish and Nelson Bond. Just digging into it, and science fiction has always been my number one go-to. So it's always been that way.
Very nice to have you on. Who's our third novella?
That would be me, Bill Webb. My gateway was Robert E. Howard, and a friend of mine loaned me a copy of one of the old Lancer paperbacks that had the Frank Frazetta covers, and my mom saw it and told me I couldn't read it, so naturally I read it. And that progressed to me getting into gaming with D&D in 1976.
Woo!
When a friend of mine went to Chicago, came back with the original 3 books, and they were all 3 signed by Gary Gygax.
Yeah. Amazing.
And so after that, I was pretty much done.
Cool. And who's our fourth book main author?
That would be me. Hi, folks. I'm DJ Bodden. I got into sci-fi, I guess from a very young age. I read Stephen King's It when I was 8 years old, and I think that definitely qualifies as sci-fi, even though you don't find it out until the end. And from there, it was Lord of the Rings. I'm going to group in sci-fi and fantasy. And I grew up in Europe, so I didn't actually have a lot of access to the big sci-fi stuff. Like I read French sci-fi, which is like The Night of Time and some Albert Camus and some stuff like that, which you've probably never heard of, but it was actually kind of fun. And we read it in school. But I would go visit family in the States over the summer. So in my teens, I got into Warhammer and Star Trek and Star Wars. And just started tearing through omnibuses from there. Got into gaming as well. Harebrained Studio Shadowrun is a big favorite, as is their rendition of BattleTech. Love everything that's come out in Knights of the Old Republic, in The Force Unleashed, and in the Fallen Order series, which has then come into some of the Star Wars movies, which I really appreciate. The Dune movie, which was fantastic. Thank you, Kevin. And many others since then. So it's been a good decade for sci-fi fans.
Heck yeah, agreed. So that leaves last but certainly not least,
not yet.
Our side ones, our side authors here, because Kevin Anderson, I believe you've written for all of these novellas, correct?
I wrote an original novella, which is number 5 in the series, but then I also wrote little connecting stories between.
Gotcha. So that's how they're co-written. Gotcha. So
yeah.
let's do Kevin McLaughlin first, and then we'll circle back around to Kevin Anderson.
You got to unmute, Kev.
Yeah. I'm Kevin McLaughlin, and I wrote the 6th novella in the series. In terms of when I got started on science fiction, I don't think there was ever a time when I wasn't. I remember when I was 4 years old going to watch the premiere of the Star Trek motion picture when it first released in New York City, and I had never seen, and very rarely since seen, standing ovations in a movie theater, but there were 3 standing ovations for that premiere.
Wow.
Which was pretty cool. Credits rolling when you first see the Enterprise, and at the end, 3 standing ovations for that, which was awesome.
Best feeling. that like everyone's there and in it.
Pretty much geeked from birth.
That's awesome.
And then I started playing D&D when I was 7, so it just went on from there.
Great. Oh, so cool. And now I should say last but not least is Kevin Anderson.
All right. Well, and I did the 5th one in the whole series of Tears of Perseus, and then connecting stories all the way through. So I've got like my fingerprints everywhere throughout the thing. But I grew up in a really, really, really boring small farming town in Wisconsin, which meant there was nothing to do except use your imagination. And I saw the movie The War of the Worlds when I was 5 years old, and that just really got me hooked on Martians and science fiction. And there was like every Saturday there was sci-fi cinema, so I got to watch like Bad Rubber Monster 1950s movies, and I love those. And then my parents had a whole set of paperback classics of literature in the library, and so I grabbed all of the H.G. Wells and the Jules Verne, and I read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein and Journey to the Center of the Earth and everything. And then I discovered Andre Norton, and I read Frank Herbert's Dune when I was 11, and I read The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, and then I read all of John Carter of Mars, mainly because of the Frank Frazetta covers, Bill. Not I loved all of those. And now what you got to understand is this is like in the 60s. It is not like today when nerds are cool. Nerds were not cool when I was growing up. And so it's almost like you were this pedophile. You had to hide the fact that you're reading comics. You had to hide the fact that you're reading science fiction, and you get bullied mercilessly because you were reading the rocket ship stuff. And we got our revenge now. But and so I always wanted. I wrote the stuff. I wrote my first story when I was like 10 years old, and then when I was a freshman in college, I got into D&D with some other college friends, and our dungeon master was somebody I met in my creative writing class, who was Christine Catherine Rush. She was our DM, and she's a Hugo Award-winning science fiction author now. She's won a whole bunch of mystery awards. She's won the World Fantasy Award, and we did a D&D campaign, and I wrote the D&D campaign as a gaming fantasy trilogy that Aethon Books just re-released, the Hex World trilogy. And Chris Rush wrote the same campaign in her own fantasy book that Signet Books published back in the 90s. So that was a pretty damn effective D&D campaign, I guess. So
wow. So we're going to need to bring you back on just to talk about that. Maybe we'll have a whole episode series. We'll see.
Right.
But gosh, I want to talk about all of it. Awesome. Oh, so welcome everybody. It's so great to have you. Now, before we get into Tears of Perseus, I want to give everyone a chance to kind of pitch what is something that you have worked on that is not Tears of Perseus, that like anyone just meeting you now here in our audience, what is the first book of yours or content or anything that they should pitch up in order to fall in love with you and then read the rest of everything you've ever written? So let's start through our order again and start with Jen.
Okay, so if you want to see what I do contemporary-wise, if you want it in space, you want my BattleTech stuff. And it's young adult, but I will break your heart anyway. Don't let the young adult fool you. The first one is Iron Dawn, and it is the Rogue Academy trilogy. And if you like a mashup of Blade Runner, Matrix, and Tolkien, that's Shadowrun for you in a near future. And I've got high adventure, magic, and mayhem and machines in the Sixth World. We have Makeda Red, standalone, and we have Elfin Black, also standalone, but every single Shadowrun story or novella that I write, characters will cross over, but they're all standalone, so you can come in any order. But if you have to pick one, go to Makeda Red if you want to stay on Earth, and go to Iron Dawn if you want to go into space.
Makeda Red is the first book I read that introduced me to Jennifer, and I have Elfin Black on my nightstand right now, and I have Rogue Academy on the bookshelf right next to my couch right here. So I'm not a fan, but of Jennifer at all, clearly. So, all right, back to number 2. What's the next thing that I'm going to go back and watch and then read all these books later?
Well, for me, you would start with Salvage Title, which is the first novel I wrote, the first thing I ever had published. The first publisher I ever talked to said yes. And within 2 years, it got picked up for a movie deal. That's the way it's supposed to work, right? All you guys? And that's how it works. Yeah, that did happen. Now, it's a great story to say the first publisher I ever talked to. I spent 6 months studying whether I wanted to do independent, small press, if I wanted to get an agent. I did all those things, found the right small publisher, found out what he put out, what he liked. He's retired military too. So yes, I did approach Chris Kennedy for Chris Kennedy Publishing, and he said yes, but there was more to it. But it does make for a great story to say it was the first publisher. But
it does.
I put a lot of work into that. And I also write songs. I've had 10 songs published, cut out of Nashville. So I've been told no hundreds upon hundreds of times. It was in just a different medium. So,
fair.
So that helped a little bit in pitching and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, Salvage Title is what you want to start with. That's my science fiction.
There are 20 books in the universe now. So many questions about that. So I'm going to need you totally to come back. There's 20 books.
There's 20 books in the universe now because I've opened it and we've opened it. My son and Melissa Olthoff, they just turned in a trilogy they wrote in the universe. And so.
That's awesome. Cool. Oh, how exciting. Our third one is William, correct?
Yeah, that would be me. I think if you were going to read anything by me that would let you know who I am and what I write, it would be like Kevin. It would be the first novel I had published. It wasn't the first one I wrote. It was simply the first one that deserved to be published and got published. And it's called Standing the Final Watch. It's military sci-fi, but unlike many of them, it's not set in space. It's set here on Earth in the very near future. And the only real science fiction to it is cryogenics. If I can get you over that hurdle, then you would like the series. And it is very military oriented and all that. There are currently 21 books in the series, and total of all the various incarnations and subsets. And then there are 7 more coming this year, including some more anthologies, in which Kevin Steverson has already written, and DJ has a story sitting in my inbox now that I've got to write. So for me, that's what I write. Fantasy, I write space stuff, but that's the one that I'm best known for.
So just between the two of you, you're going to keep me reading for a year just on these series. So I'm pretty excited. Excellent. Our fourth is DJ, right?
Yep. So I'm going to break from tradition a little bit. I'm going to say that my latest book is always my best book because I'm still learning and growing. I think you can browse through. I've been a little bit scattered in my author career. I mostly write what I want to at that particular moment. So I've written urban fantasy, I've written lit RPG, I've written science fiction. It's probably not the best thing short term, but I think in the long term it's going to pay off. And I've got a couple shorts out there too, if you just want to dip your toe in the water. So I did a kind of a really neat one recently called The Phoenix of Ankara, which is actually based off a card game that we released as a Kickstarter. So it's the story that goes with the card game, which I think is probably appropriate for this audience. It's just maybe 100 pages, I think. But it's inside the card game world, except it's not explicit. So if you know the game, you can see it happening as it goes. But if you don't know the game, it's just a good story. And the main character dies at the end, and I think I actually pulled that off. So I was really proud of that one from a craft standpoint. If you're looking for the Fivefold Universe, which is where Tears of Perseus comes in, we've got the Starborn Heir, which is kind of the linchpin title that we've got within the series. It's also a multi-author universe, so I think most of the people in this call have, in one way or another, no, all of them actually have participated in a multi-author universe. So yes, you have lots and lots and lots of reading to catch up on.
Awesome. Cool. Kevin McLaughlin?
Hey, so I will have my 100th book published later this year.
What?
Yeah, I've been doing this for a little while too. In terms of places to start, it really depends. Like, there's 27 books out in the Steel Dragon universe from LMBPM. If you like urban fantasy, those are great. I just had a book released yesterday called Deadly Fathoms. It's a science fiction near future colony story. And that one was a lot of fun to write, actually. So if you want to read something that's light and fun and good adventure without a lot of it's not a deep story, it's a fun story. But I had a lot of fun writing it, and so far people are enjoying the read. So that's a good one to check out.
And I feel like I've asked everyone, where do I start? And now with Kevin Anderson, I feel like I have to ask, where do I even start?
Well, I think that the only real way you can get a true flavor and perspective is just read all of them. And I'm up to 180 books at last count. So I hope you've got a big book stack going on there. A lot of people have read my Star Wars books. I did 54 projects for Lucasfilm. The Jedi Academy trilogy is probably the best known one. I've done now 20 books with Brian Herbert in Frank Herbert's Dune universe. And yes, we both worked on the film last year and the new one that's coming out this year. But the ones that are like closest to my heart that I'm really proudest of are a steampunk trilogy that I wrote with Neil Peart, the drummer from Rush, based on their album Clockwork Angels, and that's airships and alchemy and lost cities and pirates, and they're just like the closest to my heart. Clockwork Angels is the first one, but sometimes for a real lot of fun, I very much enjoy this humorous horror series I have called Dan Shamble Zombie PI. And I just published the 8th book in that series. And, I write big, serious space opera epics like Tears of Perseus, but sometimes you just want to be stupid. And that's what I had to do. So lots of different things. And if you read all 180 of them, you can tell me which one's your favorite. I'll expect to hear from you by next week.
Oh my gosh. Wikipedia will be my no. Awesome. That is so cool. I love the idea of the steampunk trilogy. I've been newly into steampunk, so that's very exciting. So I'm going to skip ahead a couple questions because Kevin Anderson, I've already talked to you about maybe coming back and talking about some of your Kickstarters you've worked on. So I'll save some of these questions for later, even though I totally want to fangirl a little bit. But I want to get right into Tears of Perseus. So what is it? What is the overarching series about?
So Tears of Perseus is actually, if you think of the Fivefold universe as a universe or a franchise, it's the Horus Heresy of that universe, right? It's the backstory. It's the reason why there are no AIs in the later books, that, or at least if they are, they're hidden. It's the reason why the kind of the peacekeepers, if you're thinking in terms of Farscape, are the way they are. It's the reason why a lot of technology is the way there is. It's not an anthology. It's one story told by 6 authors at 6 key points in the escalation of the conflict over the course of about 300 years. And in the process, we go through the colonization of a planet, someone trying to claim someone's property in a story of murder. We go through a prison break, 2 very large-scale space battles. We go through a Terminator-style Judgment Day, and also kind of a hopeful post-apocalyptic story where people come back together. We like to tell people that the vibe you're going to get from reading the Fivefold universe in general is somewhere between The Expanse and Firefly and BattleTech. It has more hope than Warhammer 40K. It's a little bit more gritty and economic based than Star Trek. There's more science than Star Wars, but we're floating in that general space. It's a story about us being human, what makes us different, what makes us fight, what makes us come back together. And I'm not just excited about the story, though I am, obviously. But I'm also excited about how that story came together. It's told by some incredible authors. I mean, in the same group, we've got multiple award winners and international bestsellers. We've got authors who've done indie, small press, traditional, and media tie-in. We've got several core sci-fi fandoms represented. So we've got BattleTech, we've got Shadowrun, we've got Star Wars, Dune, Four Horsemen universe, The Last Brigade, and of course the Fivefold universe. I didn't even approach any of these authors without having read at least one of their full-length novels, and I liked all of them. So it was just really cool to bring all these people together. To sum up, lots of conflict. It's got a hopeful finish, and some pretty kind of one-of-a-kind elements that we haven't seen together a lot in the industry. So it's not your average sci-fi anthology.
Awesome. Oh, how cool. Neat. Does anybody have anything to add based on DJ's description?
Well, I wanted to jump in and because when mine just came out a couple of days ago, and I had a bunch of my fans saying, yes, I'm going to go and buy yours. And I had to say, no. You got to start at the beginning and read through that. These aren't, it's like a novel. Well, it is a novel. You can't just pick and choose like Bill's because he has the longest hair or something like that. It's got to be, you've got to read them in order, and it's all one big story. So that's, and even that is just a tiny microcosm of this vast universe with the vast war going on.
That's awesome.
And the other thing I'd throw out is since we had Kevin J. Anderson involved in the project, we made the most of it and got him to write 2 novellas instead of 1. So at the end of each piece of this, you actually have a character who, through things I won't spoil, manages to be at those key inflection points throughout. And Kevin Anderson was the one who wrote those. And it all leads into his novella, which is novella number 5. So you really get that interconnectedness between all the different pieces.
That's so cool. A really unique idea, and I think really fun. I was excited to hear about this project. All right, so I want to go into each of the novellas a little bit. So starting with the first one, Jennifer and Kevin Anderson. I co-wrote is the wrong word, I'm understanding.
It's mainly Jennifer. She should be talking about this one.
Okay, all right. So Jen, Tramiel's Lights. It chronically takes place in the year 799. So tell us a little bit about it.
So this is a story of a colony ship. It has been likened to the crew of the Interstellar with the dynamics of the alien crew. So there's a lot of cliques. There's a lot of love. It's about family. It's about legacy, and it's about sacrifice. So I started this off and had to set up the planetary system, which was super important because it is a very unusual planetary system. And I'm not going to get into it because I went to Launchpad, a astronomy workshop for writers, so that I could do this kind of thing, so I could talk with real science. And I consulted with real scientists to make sure that the science is right, because I didn't want Kevin to come back to me and be like, you do realize that could never happen. Anyway.
the well actually
yeah, I get a lot of that in my other stuff, but this is basically about 2 families who are homesteaders. Think homesteaders in space, and nobody is a homesteader because they like to follow the rules. And the main characters are a pair of sisters who happen to have married into these 2 families who hate each other, but the sisters absolutely love each other.
Aww.
And it's one of those things that I always wanted. I like it when you have family dynamics where the siblings, they're not necessarily rivals. They do support each other, even though they may be on opposite sides of the fence. And they're from a family of explorers, and they discover that there's this planet that's off plan, and thus they might, if they went to this one planet over here, they might be able to get out from under the corporation's thumb. But there are so many dangers, and it's a colony ship built by the lowest common denominator, the least expensive construction crew. So things are going wrong, and so it is an ensemble cast, but it's mainly focused around the two sisters who are captaining their scout ship.
Cool.
And they find it together. They have to convince everybody that yes, we want to risk 20,000 lives and go check out this other planet. And it's really, all the while they're having two families fighting over the legacy that could happen. And they're willing to sacrifice all to ensure a future for both families.
And Kevin, how did you, what was your contribution to the first novella?
Well, I kind of have to explain the whole thing, because the 6 pieces take place over 3 centuries.
Yeah.
And if I was going to have like little connecting stories all the way through, well, how are you going to have somebody that is in all the stories over 3 centuries?
Right.
And so I came up with a guy who's in Isaac Asimov's Foundation things. He had Hari Seldon, who invented psychohistory, who could use mathematics and predictive to find the inflection points throughout human history. And I kind of drew upon that to have a very wealthy, very bored kind of Richard Branson guy who he and his AI have developed this beautiful golden or yellow brick road for humanity. Like here's the way we have a beautiful, perfect future. And they plotted it all out. And so he and his AI have like set the wheels in motion. And then he's like Rip Van Winkle. He wants to see what it does. So he goes into cryosleep and wakes up decades or a century later to see what happened. And of course, humans do exactly what calculations are supposed to do, right? So everything is exactly on plan every single time he wakes up. No, not. And so it gets worse and worse every time he wakes up. So he has more extreme like course corrections that he's trying. And so he's kind of in the background, and he's in some of these other stories, some more active than others. And in Jen's, it's kind of more peripheral. And in other ones, it's much more direct. So that's the setup for each of these connecting stories. It's Richard Branson, Rip Van Winkle waking up and going, "You guys didn't do what you were supposed to do," and then
awesome.
So cool. we'll move on to Kevin Steverson and his piece next.
Cool. So it sounds like you both wrote separately. You didn't really collaborate on. Okay, cool.
No, all but right, I would absolutely always love to write with Kevin Anderson.
I mean.
Oh. All right.
All in favor?
I'll call you tomorrow, Jen. We'll
Okay. I've got some time this year.
I know I'll be reading 2,800 books by the 6 of you. So awesome. All right. So book 2, Kevin Steverson and Kevin Anderson. Now, did you have more of a collaborative approach to this story, or is it still very separated in this one?
It's still separated.
Okay.
It goes all the way through all the novellas. So, and
it takes place 200 years after the first novella, right?
Right. The planet's been established, and mine is he's a retired senior NCO, and he wanted to see the galaxy, and in order to do that, he had to join the Federation's Marines, the troops. And so even though his family didn't want him to, they wanted him to continue farming, because they have a huge corporate style farming with thousands and thousands of hectares. But he wanted to see everything, and he wanted to go. So he went off, did his time in the service, and he was in a unit that is not on the books per se. And when he came back, part of his reward or part of his award was some land of his own. So he starts farming on his own. Go figure. He didn't want to be a farmer, but he came back, retired, and became one. But then those corporations get involved, and they want to take his land to build a new space elevator. And I mean, there's murder involved, and he's got his troops, the remainder of what was his unit, and they want all their land, and he's just not having it. He's just not. And that senior NCO and that stubbornness, and I might have thrown a little Southern stubbornness in it, because that's just the way I am. My family is, what's ours is ours, and that's the end of it. I mean, it's just not going to happen. So it takes it from there, and he just happens to be in one of those 2 founding families, and that corporation may happen to be the other side there. So
That's awesome.
That's all part of it too.
And the second novella is called Falk's Claim, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Any insight from you, Kevin Anderson, on how your part of the story progresses into the second novella?
Let me just wait until it's my turn to tell my part, and I'll say how the threads go through. So
you got it. We can do that. Okay. All right. So the third book is 12 years after the second novella. So we went from 200 years to now just 12 years later. And it's Mercia's Hammer. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. Mercia's Hammer. Yes.
Okay. And this one's by Bill.
It is. Mercia's Hammer is about a gentleman who is living on one of the prosperous, relatively peaceful planets. But they, like many of them that are not near the major shipping lanes and all that, they have problems with pirates occasionally and things like that. So they're going to build their own armory, so their own militia can take care of this, and they don't have to rely on the Federation. But the Federation overreacts and decides that he is leading an insurrection. And during the commissioning ceremony for the armory, he and others are summarily taken up by the black helicopters, so to speak, and they vanish. And his daughter decides that it's her job to find where he is taken and rescue him, even though she's not a warrior or anything. So it takes her years to do this. She has to do some things she doesn't want to do to find out, because it's a black site. Nobody knows where it is.
Yeah.
And it's set on I'm particularly fascinated by the idea of an ocean under an ice planet. And so that's where this prison is set. The outer crust of this world is ice, hundreds of feet thick, but the inner part is water. It has a solid core, but there's an ocean underneath the ice, and that's where the prison is set. It's completely surrounded by water, and you just have one shaft to get there with a platform at the top, and it's anchored to the sea floor. So it's almost impossible to break in, but of course you wouldn't have much of a story if they didn't. And so it was challenging, but a blast to design this and think of the way in and that kind of thing, because I really do particularly enjoy writing about characters in extremis who come up with original ways to survive and outthink their oppressors, and then just to blow things up.
That's awesome. Cool. I like the prison heist kind of play to it, and even the whole lead up to Mercia and her adventure sounds really fascinating. So
it was, and within the prison they're doing some experiments on the prisoners they shouldn't be doing, and so there's that as an added motivation.
Excellent. Oh wow, cool. All right, so from there we go to DJ's book, which is Metzler's Mistake. Am I saying that right?
That's the one.
All right. So what happens 5 years after Mercia's Hammer?
So by this point, we've gone through the plot, right? We start out with the independent colonists, and then we start out with a legal dispute, right? Someone wants land, someone says you can't have it. And then we get to kind of extrajudicial arrests and basically the Federation being a little heavy-handed. But up to now, we're dealing with classic unrest, right? If shots are fired, it's usually they're shooting over each other's heads, except in Kevin Steverson's case, where they just blow the living crap out of everything. And I actually cackled out loud reading his book because I'm a former Marine, and that kind of stuff just makes me laugh. But so far, it hasn't been a widespread conflict, right? It's been these little key things. It's been people throwing tea leaves into the harbor kind of deal. Metzler's Mistake is where all that changes. I wrote it kind of out of my love for franchises like BattleTech, The Expanse, and Battlestar Galactica. It's a story of things going wrong in spite of the best of intentions, in spite of competent people on both sides, in spite of really human people and synthetic human people as well, who don't want this to turn into a bloodbath. There's no villain in it. It's really the situation that was set up by Jen and Kevin and Bill's stories that kind of push the situation to this thing, but it turns into the mother of all misunderstandings with fire raining from the sky and fire all the missiles and everything's gone wrong. It's going from when humans are willing to kind of risk their lives or fight for things that they need to saying that we're going to kill you and this war is not going to end until one side is dead. And that was kind of the interest of that progression as we went through the novels, which is even going to go further with Kevin Anderson's book. It was originally called The Peace of Kalan, which is what the locals call how they settled the planet, because they also had feuding groups. But the captain essentially took control of the armory and held them both at gunpoint and forced them to sit at the table. But this is the story of the opposite. It's two sides that didn't want to fight and ended up blowing the living daylights out of each other.
Wow.
So that's where it goes. And actually, it's a direct handoff. So the end of my story is directly where Kevin Anderson's story picks up and then rolls into his full-on novella. So I'll let him continue.
Kevin, take it away.
Well, this is like exactly one of those TV shows where there's all this great stuff happening, and then it fades to black, and the words come on that say 1 week earlier, and then it goes back. And start. So, my guy, whose name is Cal Radin, the Richard Branson kind of guy, he's got an AI companion that's helping him figure out the best route for the human race, and so he's figured he puts all this stuff into motion in at the end of Jen's novella, and then he wakes up 200 years later and finds, you guys screwed it all up. And so he goes to like the capital planet and addresses Parliament or Congress or whatever. And he's kind of naive and arrogant because he was rich and powerful, but they've forgotten about him in 200 years. He shows up on the floor and he's like Rip Van Winkle, this old dinosaur, and he's telling them what they're supposed to do. And so basically the secret police whisk him away in the middle of the night and they throw him into this prison, Bill Webb's prison. And his AI actually helps him break out with part of this prison break. And then he's done now. He's done his best to help. He wanted humanity to grow up and put his big boy pants on, but they're insisting on not behaving themselves. So he just goes to this quiet planet. He just wants to retire. And that's where DJ's big crap fest happens and everything goes wrong. And what he does is like, I'm out of here. He checks out and he goes into suspended animation again, right before, at the end of DJ's books, when this big disaster happens. But when he wakes up some decades later, when my novella starts, during the time he's been down, his AI and one of his Padawans that he like rescued during this disaster, they have turned him into like this Osama bin Laden figure. He's been asleep, but they've made him into this Dread Pirate Roberts who's doing all these horrific terrorist acts and blowing up things. And right before the guy, Cal Radin, wakes up, these rebels have done a horrific, they blow up a space elevator and it kills all kinds of people, and it's all done in his name. And when he wakes up to find out that these bad guys have made him into a hero, he's got to fight against it and try to fix things, because he always gets his foot in it trying to fix things. Well, the problem is this commander of the is it the Perseus military? It's been months since I wrote that. I'm trying to remember it's this commander thinks that he's her enemy. He's Osama bin Laden. So she is out to get this guy with all the might of her military force. And he's kind of caught in the middle of things, and it escalates, and everybody's trying to keep things going. And the AIs, which we're building into our Terminator Judgment Day things, they're trying to fix humanity so that we don't go astray anymore. And you can guess how well that's going to go. So,
yeah.
So wow. That's kind of where we're up to, because mine just got published, and then it is leading into Kevin McLaughlin's, who's the last.
Yeah. And I see what you mean too about like you can't just pick up the fifth book because his story starts back. There's so
you have to know these other pieces and how it's building up to this 300-year war. It's not like a Helen of Troy, one little event makes it all happen. It's different.
Okay. All right. Fascinating. So that's leading me. I'm getting like more excited as we go. So like, I want to hear the ending now. So Kevin McLaughlin, tell me all about the last one is called, I want to make sure I get this right, Holloway's Charge.
Yes.
Okay.
So for my book, basically everything has gone sideways. Really, really badly, and like the Federation fleet is starting to roll up the carpets and lock the doors. They're beginning a withdrawal from the planet, so they're escorting their citizens out. So as they're going along, let's see, without giving away too much of the book plot, the story is one about people on the edge of everything kind of breaking apart and collapsing, society starting to break down. The connections between systems, which were integral to the spread of technology and to survival of these colonies and stuff, it's all falling apart. So there's a bunch of choices that people have to make between what is easy and smart and what is right and what's the good thing to do. And so a lot of the decisions that are made are essentially moral questions. The characters are faced with a series of moral dilemmas, and they make the best choices that they can. And the choices are imperfect. The characters are flawed. Nobody in this is like a perfect sterling hero, but they're doing the best that they can to be good people in a really, really bad situation. And the story ends on an upbeat note for the future, and it trails off into the other books that have been written in this universe and that happen far in the future that are part of that like more hopeful rising tide universe that comes along after this.
Neat. How did it feel? I feel like as all of this has been ramping up, you got this novella, and it's like, yeah, now clean up what all the other authors did.
I volunteered. I had like 3, I think, different novellas I could choose from when I got it tagged for this, and I was like, no, that one sounds like fun. I'll do that one.
Cool, awesome. So you kind of touched on this a little bit, but DJ, I want to hear about. So there's 6 novellas in the series, and then I saw on the timeline of events that the Starborn Heir comes after. So what is that, and when does that take place?
So AIs being AIs, they decide to hedge their bets, right? So in one way, we have Kevin J. Anderson's story where they take one route to try to correct humanity's course. And obviously, this is not a nice story, even though it ends on an upbeat note. So things go wrong. Mm-hmm. The other way they hedge their bets is, and it's a little bit of a tip of the hat to Battlestar Galactica, 13 of them decide to take splinter colony fleets and just bug out as far out from the galactic core as they can. And so they take different groups of colonists from both sides, right? And sometimes it's Federation military guarding Perseid prisoners of war and just saying, look, we're out of the war. We're going to make this work. We're going to be friends, whether you like it or not. And if you don't like it, then the airlock's right there. But they just basically run as far and as fast as they can. Some of them don't make it. Some of them get caught along the way. And they set up these new societies. And it's a little bit like the vaults in Fallout, where each society has a little key characteristic. And so Starborn Heir is one of these societies 3,000 years later that ran away from the war. And they built this society that's based off Plato's Republic. So they're actually the gentlemen and lady statespeople. They want to be good stewards of power. And the main character is the son of the planetary governor who's supposed to inherit the planet when he turns 40 after spending 40 years learning how to rule. And he just wakes up one day after putting, 26 years of study and hardship and competing against all the other possible heirs, because it really is an intense meritocracy. And he decides, you know what, I'm in the lead position right now and I don't want it. So he drops the trust fund, he gathers a crew, his father puts him on the no-fly list, so he steals a shuttle and he blasts off to be a space pirate, and that's where the story goes. There is a character that is in Tears of Perseus that is also in Starborn Air. If you can imagine what kind of character would be able to be there 3,000 years later and all the problems that would entail. One of the things that we tried to do in the Fivefold Universe is, the symbol for the Fivefold Universe is actually a 5 cube. So it's a multidimensional cube. And it's meant to be layered and interconnected. So all of these novellas and the Starborn Air and all the other books are actually one gigantic story that will eventually come together into something that fans and readers can participate in. And I'm really excited to get there. It's going to take a couple more years, but I think it's going to be fun. My wife and head of marketing and I are also experimenting with other stuff in the Starborn Air. So, for example, we have a music composer working on scoring it to see how we can mix music and story. We have some character vignettes, so you can actually sign up for a mailing list. That's not like your traditional mailing list where we spam you once a month for 12 months. But it's actually little character vignettes of each of the main characters that you can just get as you read the book to see, oh, this is where they came from, or this is a key point in their life. So it's really kind of a combination of a book that follows up on the Tears of Perseus, but also kind of a little experimental lab where we're trying new things and how to interact with readers.
That's really cool. I love that. Please keep me posted as more comes out, so we can bring you back and talk some more about it, because it sounds really fun. All right, so for the sake of time, because we're pretty much at time here, I just want to make one more round robin here. Where can our audience find you and your community to follow what you're working on and get their own set of Tears of Perseus? So let's start with Jennifer. Where do people find you?
I'm most active on Twitter right now at Jennifer Brozek. And I'm also on Twitch twice a month with our Elrond's game, again on Twitch. And JenniferBrozek.com has all of my different novels and such.
Beautiful. Thank you. Kevin Steverson.
Yeah, you can find me at kevinsteverson.com or on any of the social medias, your Facebooks and Instagram and Twitter, just by typing in my name, it'll pop up. So, but kevinsteverson.com will take you where you need to go.
Awesome. Bill?
My website is thelastbrigade.com, and you can learn more about me there than you could ever possibly want to know.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's got all my stuff.
Great, thank you. DJ?
You can just type my name into Google and you will find many ways to interact with me. You can also go to fivefolduniverse.com to see our website and also our wiki, where we have schematics of ships and articles on the tech and all that kind of stuff.
Is that where we go to get our copies of the books too?
You can get the books on Amazon. It's also linked on the website. So all roads lead to Rome.
Awesome. And that the speaker off camera is the wonderful Ellie, by the way. Ellie, you should come say hi because we love you. Ellie is amazing at coordinating all this. So wanted to give you a shout out before we end the show here. Kevin McLaughlin.
Well, you can find me right now at my long ignored and neglected website at kevinomclaughlin.com. But almost everything I've ever written is up on Kindle and Kindle Unlimited. That's a great place to look. If you want to binge all my books, please do. I do have a community hub site going up later this year, though. It's a big experiment. It'll be prosci-fi.com.
Ooh,
but
cool.
That's a couple months out yet, probably.
Okay, let me know when that's up. We should talk about it.
Sure.
And last but not least, once again, Kevin J. Anderson.
I'm pretty much most active on Facebook. You can just search official Kevin J. Anderson page, just because I can post more pictures and stuff there. And I also have a Twitter account. It's the and then my initials KJA. But my main website is wordfire.com, like words on fire, wordfire.com. And I do have a more traditional newsletter you can sign up there, but you want to do that because you get like free audiobooks and free books of mine and fun newsletters because I post pictures of my canyon hikes and my mountain climbs and my cats and my lasagna recipes and stuff like that, as well as telling you to buy my books. So sign up for that and you can just see what else I've got going. Oh, and there is a probably very outdated list right now of maybe the first 170 books that I published. So that'll get you started at least.
Yeah, that will tide me over for now while you get the rest updated. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for coming to talk with me. Congratulations on your series. I can't wait for the last one to be released. And I think DJ, you said the full omnibus is going to be available in March.
Yeah, so we'll all of these copies have been digital. We'll put out a paper version of it probably around March, and maybe we'll add a few Easter eggs and extra things to it to make it worthwhile.
Awesome. Well, thank you all once again. Don't go anywhere though, because we will be right back, REM PCs. In the shadows, it's only a matter of time before one has to choose sides. What will our runner's latest job cost them? Why is their target so valuable? Who will survive the chilling conclusion of the Redstone arc? Join us for A Dish Served Cold in the next episode of Shadowrun Sixth World Emerald Glitch, coming up next on Gen Con TV. Don't forget that we have a wonderful giveaway of the complete digital set of the novella series Tears of Perseus by our amazing guests today. Thank you so much for donating such a cool prize. Don't forget to get bonus entries and impact the game by donating bits and subs in chat and type in #REMPC for your free entry. All funds help us to pay our cast and crew and keep producing content. You can also pick up t-shirts and merch at our Etsy store at remalternus.com/Etsy. Thank you all for joining, and we'll see you next time, REM PCs.
Yeah. In the city of Neo-Babylon, full of powerful magic and emerging cyber technology, the authorities say that they know what's best, but only ever seem to help themselves. That's where you come in. If the powerful won't help, you'll just have to get things done on your own. Hey folks, I'm Opti, the founder of Fragging Unicorns Games and creator of the Subversion RPG. In Subversion, you and your friends play as envoys, representatives of your communities taking direct action to serve and save the people around you. But there's a catch. Both characters and communities have values that are important to them. Trying to subvert an oppressive world around you while also holding true to those values isn't an easy task. Neo-Babylon is a world much like our own, but where magic and wondrous things have always existed. And the ancient Babylonian Empire was the first to wield that magic to conquer and assimilate their enemies. Now, in Neo-Babylon, communities struggle against oppressive arcane elites, faceless corporate masters, and all kinds of authorities that have boots aimed at their necks. So if you want to play a game where you can encounter wondrous creatures, breach computer systems, bend magic to your will, search out lost civilizations, steal from the rich, and give to the poor, Subversion might be for you. But if you're looking for a game where your values truly matter and building up your community is just as important as destroying unjust systems of control, Subversion is absolutely for you.
You get to play with us now, which is so exciting. So with channel points, bits, and subscribes, you can give rewards to the player of your choice. So how to do that is, no, not Bob. Channel points, I believe it is 500 points, gets you NERPs, which is +3 to any dice roll to the player of your choice. For 1,000 channel points, you can do a point of edge to any player. And for 2,500 channel points, you can do 4 edge to the player of your choice. Now for bits, for 100 bits, that's $1, you can do the NERPs. For 200 bits, that's $2, you can do the point of edge. Or for 500 bits, that's $5, get 4 edge to give to the player of your choice. And finally, again, the subs, if you subscribe, you can give 4 edge to any player.
What a spell! Spell. She says spell like 92 times. Spell.
Ready to level up your cosplay game? Check out the Geek Forge on Etsy. With a variety of props to give your photos that extra spark, you'll find just what you need. Hold magical fire in the palm of your hand, or take a potion to restore your mana. With a large variety of colors, you can choose your own magical flavor for your cosplay. Bring drama to your photo shoots with these vibrant props and more, all available at the Geek Forge. Are you ready to level up your cosplay?
NPCs. Welcome to our actual play of Shadowrun 6th World Emerald Glitch. I'm Bob, your GM, and tonight we hopefully conclude the Redstone story arc with a dish served cold. And so you might notice a little bit of a change in the cast just for tonight. We're missing about half our table. So Tom has stepped in to play a returning character.
Jay, the driver.
Hey, the troll driver.
I'm
Troll.
sure I'll hate him.
Let's see. So we've had a bunch of stuff go on since we last touched base with the Redstone story arc. So we had the charity auction that went all sorts of haywire as a big alabaster statue trudged its way by itself out into the night, causing all sorts of chaos. And our runners managed to procure a copy of a book that was requested by Dr. Winters. Since then, we've had some musical-based episodes with one that I got to play. And then we had a Christmas episode. So now we jump back, and it is snowing. It is very cold in Seattle. Colder than is normal. And so I'll ask you, because it's been several weeks since I last touched base with a lot of characters. What has Violet been up to?
She has been playing gigs where she can get them. And since it's been extra cold, she has done extra trading with her housemates for things like handmade blankets and other. So she's playing songs in places she doesn't normally, so that she can do artist trades.
Okay. And some of these gigs you've seen Jay. Not all the time, but some of the time. And Jay, you've been kind of left in Seattle for the time being after Jander and CQ went off to cut their album. They were told by their manager to leave town for an extended period of time, lest their previous activities catch law enforcement attention.
I made enough money driving for them, so I would just be enjoying myself.
Yeah. You were on double time for that whole mission. Curie, what have
Yes.
you been up to?
Since the Dr. Winters job ended, she had said to check in soon, that she might have another job, and she gave me the book to go over. So I've been doing that. I learned a new spell. I learned Mana Ball, so I can now attack a group of people in the astral or spirits, because that was lacking. And she spent her growing pile of new yen on a Roadmaster. So she has a car now.
Wow.
She actually was inspired by Slick in that way.
Okay. Do you have the driving skill? Piloting.
I don't think so, but doesn't that
Okay.
mean that I just drive like a normal human and not
you drive a lot like Fisher did. You push the button and you go where it goes.
Oh God. All right, well, I know what I'm doing, spending karma on next time.
There is an Ares Roadmaster in the characters section. Since Slick also drives one.
Cool.
And you'll note that it has a pilot of 2. So it's not awesome, but it's functional.
Yeah, it's what I need in case I need a quick getaway. So I'm good for now.
Okay. So yeah, you are, we'll say it is Wednesday around 3:00 in the afternoon. And you are on your way to to see Dr. Winters. Sort of your weekly or bi-weekly check-in or whatever, and learning new things and seeing what's up with her. And you get to the office, and the door to the outer office opens. Of course, there's no one there. Sometimes that receptionist is there, sometimes not. Today the receptionist is not there. It is cold in here. Coming in from outside, it's almost like someone left windows open. But you look around and the windows are all closed.
It was cold in here last time I was here too.
That's right. And so you go in and the door closes behind you and you're sort of in the outer office by yourself. You don't get motioned in. The door to the inner office is open, but you don't see anyone in there.
I walk in like I usually do.
Okay. So as you walk into the inner office, what you see, the way this is sort of laid out is there's a large sort of rectangular desk like typical academic or corporate suit would have. Big, either wooden or wood paneled or faux wood desk. This looks like it's probably actual wood. There's a table off to the side that's sort of a round circular table with a couple of chairs around it. And you get the sense that that round table is where the official university stuff gets done, because there are stacks of papers, most of which bear the university seal. The big rectangular desk with the nice plush leather chair behind it, that desk is completely bare, as has been normal as you think back on it. Dr. Winters apparently doesn't do a lot of paperwork on this desk, except there's an envelope, a big manila envelope laying on the desk.
Does it say anything on it?
And it just has a big C.
Well, that's what my name starts with. So I'll assume it's for me. Sure. Yeah.
You pick it up. It is a sealed manila envelope.
Right. Open it.
Okay. It's right there in the office.
I don't see why not.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe inside it says "Come to conference room D" or something. I don't know. So I should put that in an envelope, but I'm not her, so.
So you open the envelope, and inside is a nice thick stack of paper.
Take it out.
So you pull out the paper, sort of spread it across the. Apparently, that big rectangular desk is cleared off, so you can lay stuff on that desk. And the top page, as you pull it out, just says. And I'll show this, but I'll go ahead and read it as well. The top page just has some type on it that says Thursday, 2000. Discretion and professional courtesy are appreciated. And as you read through, today's Wednesday.
Okay.
So you have about a day.
Okay.
So as you leaf through to the next page is a picture. A picture of a small cove, and you recognize this cove. This is where you guys came out from that underground laboratory. When you rescued the glitchy technomancer. This is where you guys came out, sort of There was a boat that you guys found. That you guys sort of went under this lip out into a cove that exited into Puget Sound.
Okay.
So you have been to this place before. And you should turn the page. That's all of where. So those 2 pages are what a normal person would understand. The rest is stuff that you're confident not many people would understand. Because you have the quasi-resonant precognition knowledge skill, you recognize a number of the subsequent pages as printouts of input and output decks for a quasi-resonant precognition model run. So you see a whole bunch of, this is sort of input data, this is output data, and you also see some handwritten notes, and at the end there are some other notes. I'll ask you to make an Astral plus Logic test.
Okay. Dogs, stop growling.
Oh, okay. I thought that was my stomach.
Yeah. All right. I don't think any.
Okay. You are not wounded, by the way. You guys should be fully healed. You should be refreshed back to your starting edge.
It's been a while since I've been in here with the holidays. I have to remember how to go adjust my sheet.
But 3 hits is enough.
Okay.
The sense you get from the rest of these papers and the notes that are sort of handwritten in, it looks like somebody with the precognition magical ability has done a precognition to corroborate the model output.
Gee, who would that be? Redstone. What else do I find? Because now I'm thinking I'm probably going to go pay him a visit.
Okay. So that's all you find in that stack of papers.
Okay. I'm going to go pay Redstone a visit. I'm at the university anyway.
Yeah, so I mean, you've taken the walk from Redstone's office to here, and it's a short walk. And you get there, the door's closed.
As I leave, though, as I leave Winter's office, I want to turn and just astrally perceive real quick and see if, just check her office.
So that'll be Astral plus Intuition.
Wound modifiers off. Oh, that's where it goes. Boop. Woo!
Okay, with 5 hits. So you may remember that the previous times you've been in this office, you have not rolled so well with a sensing.
I may
you have rolled uncharacteristically low on a sensing in this office. For mysteries that only roll 20 notes.
Yeah.
But with 5 hits, you see there are a number of magical objects in this room. A number of books on the bookshelf are... So there's a bookshelf like behind the desk that is... well, there's one off to the side that is more sort of technical books, or like traditional STEM books, mathematics, physics, some computer science. Mostly mathematics, and you know that by trade she is a mathematician. The books behind the desk tend more toward the esoteric and arcane. A lot of books that you would expect to see in the Department of Thaumaturgy. And incidentally, it's curious that she wasn't a part of the Department of Thaumaturgy. And you do see there is the bookshelf itself has an aura over it. That looks like a combination of illusion and manipulation magic.
So So it's either got a protective kind of thing to make sure people don't steal the books, or that's my guess anyway. More interesting to note, and that's probably the bookshelf she's passed me stuff to read off of anyway.
Right. And you see the hole in the bookshelf, or the hole in the book that's missing was the book that she lent you last.
Yeah. And then what about the magical items you mentioned?
Mostly you see there are reagents throughout, jars and jars of reagents. There are you see a couple of what must be weapon foci. There's one sort of generic looking dagger. It is not, incidentally, it is not the dagger you guys recovered a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. I think to myself, if she ever dies, I'll come loot her first.
Why have enemies when she can have apprentices?
Mm-hmm.
No, wishing her dead. It's just like, gee, if she goes,
right?
Dibs.
Well, she has lectured to you on a number of occasions about insurance policies.
I mean.
And you also see, as you sort of sense around the room, the office itself is warded.
Mm-hmm.
At a very high force.
Ooh.
It's hard to gauge how high the force is, but it is at least force 10.
Oh, wow. I know she's a good masker, so it doesn't surprise me too much, but...
yeah, and in fact, this is probably the first time you've actually seen anything magical in this room.
So then I think to myself, as I notice the ward, I go, all right, if she dies, whatever took her out is more powerful than I am. So I'll have to be really sneaky when I come and loot this office.
All right.
And I had to redstones.
Okay. So you walk down the hall, sort of there. It's a few hallways over. Remembering this is sort of a central building, and there are a couple of buildings off to the sides. Like they were. This building was built in sections.
Mm-hmm.
So you go off to one of the older sections of this building, where the physics department is, and you reach Dr. Redstone's office. The door is closed, and you don't. It looks like the lights are off. It's getting late enough in the day that you can tell the lights are off.
I do that thing where I knock and open the door immediately instead of waiting for someone to actually say it's okay to enter.
Okay, so you knock, and it's the old sort of glass pane window.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it does that sort of glass pane vibration.
Yeah.
As you go to jiggle the knob, and it's locked.
Really need to get a set of lock picks and then learn how to pick locks. But in the meantime,
so many skills on the list to buy.
So many. Do I hear anyone moving inside?
Make a perception test.
Oops. There we go. Perception. Boop.
You don't hear anything.
Yeah, I really, really don't. I didn't listen too hard anyway. Probably Redstone will be there tomorrow or something like that, so I'll just leave. As I head to my new roadmaster, I'm going to call Violet. And I'm going to call Violet.
Okay. I'll absolutely pick up.
It's been a few weeks. How are you?
Oh, well, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Just fine. I have a meet tomorrow morning that requires some quote unquote professional courtesy, and you're the best I know at that. Would you come along?
Well, sure. I'm real good at being real polite.
Yeah, I'll let you do the talking. We are meeting at the cove when we emerged from the thing with the technomancer.
The place with the boat and the raft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where we're meeting, and it's tomorrow at 8 p.m. Let's not bring the others. I think this is just a meet, so should only need the professional courtesy and not the nonsense.
I do have a friend in town. We were supposed to hang out tomorrow night. You remember the fellow that drove us around at the museum?
No.
Well, there was a fella that drove us around when we were at the museum. He's a very large young man. But
Slick?
No, not friend Slick. This is Mr. J.
I don't think Curie has met Mr. J.
I couldn't remember. I assume everybody's met everybody.
If you must.
Also, he's mostly been my ride around town, so I'll bring him along. He seems pretty professional.
If you must.
Okay.
I hang up.
She is just sunshine in a snowstorm.
There are worse things to be. So can I come?
All right. I'm gonna bring you.
All right.
So Curie, go ahead and make another perception test.
So far, I'm doing, a 3 and then a 5 and then a 0. This is going great.
You're all over the place.
Boop. 2.
Okay.
Back to roll 20's norm.
So you are going to retrieve your vehicle, or you're actually just pulling out in your brand new vehicle, and because you're getting used to how the Roadmaster maneuvers.
Mm-hmm.
I should use air quotes when I say maneuvers, because the Roadmaster is not a small vehicle.
Right, and hopefully I would be connecting to Grid Guide for the most part and being like, do the driving for me, please.
Yeah. So that's the easy way to do it. Because for the uninitiated, driving a Roadmaster is like driving an Escalade in a bumper car track.
Listen, I wanted something that would protect me if people started shooting.
Well, you do have that.
It will definitely do that.
So you this is the only reason you notice it, in fact, is because you pushed the drive me somewhere button. So you are free to look around as the vehicle pulls out, and you see, so tucked back in the corner, is that Professor Redstone's SUV?
I mean, it's possible he was in a meeting or teaching a class, but I'll cancel Grid Guide for a second and just go check his car, because, I listen to a lot of Crime Junkie, and I know that oftentimes, bodies are found in cars. So I'll just check it just to be sure.
Yeah, I mean, how else are you going to know you can go loot her office if you don't check her car for her body?
This is Redstone, not Winters.
Fair enough. Thank you. I'm sorry.
But Redstone has some cool books I'd probably steal.
Okay, so you get out and go over to Redstone's vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And with 2 hits, so Redstone's vehicle has a sort of a standard tinting, but not like Mafia tinting.
Yeah.
So you can kind of see inside, and you see, so it's sort of parked like nose in against the wall, and you sort of look in the driver's side, and there's nobody you don't see anybody in the front seat. You sort of look toward the back, and you see what appears to be a shoe.
A shoe on a foot? Or
It's probably positioned. It's probably positioned that there's a foot inside because it's sort of just sticking up, and you can barely just see the top of the wingtip.
I'll apologize later, or maybe I won't. I put my hand on the glass and ice it and crack it.
Okay. So it shatters.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and make it, we'll say a edge plus edge test.
Ooh. Let me roll 14 dice.
Oh, your edge is 7. Very nice.
Yes.
And do you, never mind. So you have edge 7, so that's fine.
Seven hits.
Okay. So the alarm does not go off. And you are just perfectly able to, you sort of, in this particular scenario, you have mastered that I'm going to make my hand so cold that gradually just its spiderweb cracks and the frozen pieces sort of fall into the car.
It's like I'm a professional criminal or something.
Yeah, it's like you're a professional criminal or something. And you look inside, and there is a body in there.
Of course there is. Is it redstone shaped?
No, it is bigger than a gnome.
Oh.
It looks to be roughly human-ish size.
Maybe redstone's cooler than I gave him credit for. I'm a like kind of like lean over, see if I can recognize anything, but not touch or contaminate the crime scene.
Yeah, so you sort of poke your head in, and you see a familiar face. Luigi Bianco, who is the maitre d' at the at Gianelli's, the mafia joint.
I'm not gonna lie, when you said familiar face, I thought it was gonna be Winters and be like, well, back to her office, I guess.
But Luigi is wearing a dark suit and a green tie. And it appears that he is broken in half. And you can see sort of jagged ice crystals where the break is.
I still have Redstone's contact info because that's how he got me in touch with Winters.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna call him.
Okay.
And at this point, I'm just gonna get back in my Roadmaster for now and maybe park at the other end of the lot or something. So like, I'm not just hanging. Yeah, not just hanging out there.
All right. Yeah, so that ends up being a good idea because as you drive off, your instinct is with the 7 hits on edge. Your instinct is to keep driving because eventually the campus police roll in.
All right, I keep driving while I call Redstone. Not illegal because grid guide.
Yep. And it goes straight to voicemail.
Of course it does. Well, since grid guide takes, yeah, and I know where the car is going, so that's safe for my body. I'm going to go ahead and go full astral and go back to the university and search his office and the most likely places he would be, and see if I can find his aura.
Okay. So go ahead and we'll just have you make a single a sensing test or astral test that will cover the whole thing.
3
hits. Okay.
And I'll keep an eye out for Winters too, because if she's somewhere nearby, I would tell her.
Okay. You find neither Winters nor Redstone in any of Redstone's usual haunts, so his office is empty. It looks like no one has been in today.
Cool. Anything out of place in his office? Like spilled over coffee mug, old coffee.
You know, since you asked, and since you rolled 3 hits on a sensing, you sort of redeem your previous 0 hits on perception. You get the sense that someone else was in this office, but it was probably close to a day ago. And it's just things out of place that you don't think would have been out of place for Redstone. You get the sense that Redstone has that sort of obsessive personality that everything would be in its place.
Yeah.
Even if it looked messy to normal people. And you do sense a few things that are not quite right. It's more of a feeling than anything else.
I'm gonna sit back to my body. And then call Violet again.
Okay.
And Violet will pick up right away. Is everything okay? I didn't think tonight.
Change of plan. We're gonna get together now. Bring guns.
I mean, I won't bring guns, but I'll find somebody who can.
I've already hung up.
Opens her sentence to dead air and then realizes.
And I'll change the grid guy to head to Violet's.
It's the telephone version of Batman. You turn around, she's already hung up. So you change the grid guide to go where?
To go to Violet's.
Okay.
And Violet will text Jay and hey, you free?
Text back. Yeah, not doing anything.
Did Curie say she was coming over? She didn't.
Nope.
No.
She told me she was going over, but she didn't tell you if she was going over.
Sometimes I'm my own worst enemy. It's funny.
Violet will text back, friend in need. Come by? ?
Sure. Give me I just gotta set up the tab. And I pay the bartender.
Okay.
And head to the car. And drive over there myself. Because I don't need to use grid guide.
Oh.
I'm too busy to focus on driving. I have things to do. I can go astral and get to where I need to be.
You can now fall asleep in your own car.
Yeah. I love the future. Except for, the dystopia, but
Oh, hey. Yeah.
So you guys all sort of converge at Violet's place. Or perhaps just outside Violet's place, because you see what does Jay drive?
A Roadmaster.
Roadmaster. So 2 Roadmasters pull up in front of your apartment, Violet.
Yeah, but she knows what mine looks like.
Yep. And at least the other one is not like marked with any official markings.
Which one of us gets there first?
We'll say Jay does, because Jay is driving personally, and Grid Guide will do things like keep it under the speed limit, obey the rules of traffic, and generally get you snarled in traffic jams this time of day.
Okay.
Yes, even though there are self-driving cars, there are still traffic jams.
Yeah.
never mind, the future's still dumb.
That's the true dystopia.
Okay.
Yeah, so you guys arrive. So you recognize Jay's Roadmaster as he pulls up. And then a second Roadmaster pulls up behind Jay. And sort of takes its time parking, like a grid-guided vehicle would. It does that sort of that by the textbook squaring off of your parking.
Okay.
I imagine it like how my Roomba parks.
Well, at least that means they're not deploying a strike team out of it, because they just wouldn't come out like that. They just wouldn't be that careful parking first.
Right. They wouldn't be that careful parking. They wouldn't take that much time parking.
Yeah, my housemate does not like it when they run over her flowers in the front.
But whoever of your roommates might have still been there, when they see the two Roadmasters, they do skedaddle.
Once I'm parked, I get out and start heading to Violet's door.
Okay.
And Violet will come out front to meet Jay. So.
Yeah.
All right, so Curie, as you're getting out, you just close the door and you're about to go in when you see Violet coming out.
I'll immediately start going into it and say, stop by the university. Redstone wasn't there, which is fine, but I saw his car in the lot, so I went to go make sure there wasn't a dead body. There was a dead body. It wasn't Redstone's, but it was the maitre d' at that place with the mobsters. I didn't learn his name. I didn't bother. But yeah, he's dead, like broken in half, dead. So I left before the cops showed up and called you because I have a feeling Redstone is involved with the meeting we have tomorrow, which is going to be problematic if he is missing and or dead. His office, I did astrally perceive, and he hasn't been there in more than a day. Someone else has. So again, more concerning that now his office has been entered by someone, not him, and his car has been entered with a dead body, which, let's face it, we both know Redstone, he's not cool enough to pull that off. So
from behind
we should
you,
go check out his house.
From behind you, was the dead body, was it snapped as in something ran into it, or did somebody take it over their knee and break it?
So from behind me, did I see you coming? Because if not,
you saw the shadow form over you.
There would be this large. I mean, basically, this is the biggest, the biggest troll you've ever seen.
Violet, please, out of character, stop me. In character, I'm going to turn around and cast Ice Spear.
So as you turn around, Violet is going to reach out and like link her arm, her elbow in your elbow, and say, Miss Curie, this is my friend I was telling you about, Mr. J, who is large and drives apparently the same vehicle that you do. So y'all have a lot in common.
And the moment as she sort of links her arm with yours, it's enough that you can stop yourself, because as you're, it takes you extra time to sort of register the targeting, because as you go to target something, your gaze kind of goes up, because he's a tall drink of troll.
I mean, that's fine. I just, would have hit him at manhood level, so that would have been fine too. But in this case, glad I've been stopped. And I glare at him and say, maybe don't sneak up on someone you don't know.
Well, not my. You know what? I'm sorry. You're right. I didn't realize I was sneaking. Occupational hazard.
She blinks a couple times because she's not used to someone just immediately not getting defensive.
I'm Jay. And I put out my hand.
Curie, but she does not return the hand, but she'll kind of slowly, awkwardly turn back to Violet. Like, I don't know what to do with this, so I'm just gonna re-engage over here.
And with that bit of awkward pre-van ride, we'll go to our first 5-minute break.
Awesome, which is my cue to talk about the giveaway. So for you, I see you 27 people in chat. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to type in hashtag REMPC in the chat box in Twitch, because that will enter you to win a digital set of the omnibus of the Tears of Perseus, which is a sci-fi story that spans across, it's a single story that spans across 6 novellas, and it's written by like legendary writers like Kevin J. Anderson, Jennifer Brozek, Kevin McLaughlin, Kevin Steverson, DJ Bodden, and William Allen Webb. So I remembered all 6 because they are like super important writers, people, and I got to talk to them. So if you haven't watched that, you should go do that too. But in the meantime, hashtag REMPC to enter to win. Donate some bits to get bonus entries, because the 6th one isn't even available publicly yet. So you get it first, which makes you very special people. So do the thing, do the bits, do the subs, do the hashtag REMPC, and we'll see you in 5 minutes.
Yeah. In the city of Neo-Babylon, full of powerful magic and emerging cyber technology, the authorities say that they know what's best, but only ever seem to help themselves. That's where you come in. If the powerful won't help, you'll just have to get things done on your own. Hey folks, I'm Opti, the founder of Fragging Unicorns Games and creator of the Subversion RPG. In Subversion, you and your friends play as envoys, representatives of your communities taking direct action to serve and save the people around you. But there's a catch. Both characters and communities have values that are important to them. Trying to subvert an oppressive world around you while also holding true to those values isn't an easy task. Neo-Babylon is a world much like our own, but where magic and wondrous things have always existed. And the ancient Babylonian Empire was the first to wield that magic to conquer and assimilate their enemies. Now, in Neo-Babylon, communities struggle against oppressive arcane elites, faceless corporate masters, and all kinds of authorities that have boots aimed at their necks. So if you want to play a game where you can encounter wondrous creatures, breach computer systems, bend magic to your will, search out lost civilizations, steal from the rich, and give to the poor, Subversion might be for you. But if you're looking for a game where your values truly matter and building up your community is just as important as destroying unjust systems of control, Subversion is absolutely for you.
You get to play with us now, which is so exciting. So with channel points, bits, and subscribes, you can give rewards to the player of your choice. So how to do that is, no, not Bob. Channel points, I believe it is 500 points, gets you NERPs, which is +3 to any dice roll to the player of your choice. For 1,000 channel points, you can do a point of edge to any player. And for 2,500 channel points, you can do 4 edge to the player of your choice. Now for bits, for 100 bits, that's $1, you can do the NERPs. For 200 bits, that's $2, you can do the point of edge. Or for 500 bits, that's $5, get 4 edge to give to the player of your choice. And finally, again, the subs, if you subscribe, you can give 4 edge to any player.
What a spell! Spell. She says spell like 92 times. Spell. Spell.
Ready to level up your cosplay game? Check out the Geek Forge on Etsy. With a variety of props to give your photos that extra spark, you'll find just what you need. Hold magical fire in the palm of your hand, or take a potion to restore your mana. With a large variety of colors, you can choose your own magical flavor for your cosplay. Bring drama to your photo shoots with these vibrant props and more, all available at the Geek Forge. Are you ready to level up your cosplay?
We're live again. Hey, folks.
Welcome back. We are just in our pre-awkward van ride.
We haven't actually gotten back into the van yet. Okay.
That's right. You were still on the street in front of Violet's place.
Perhaps we should talk about dead bodies in a more private setting.
I just blink.
I'd recommend one of y'all's vehicles for maximum privacy. There's at least like 8 folks inside where I live. I don't know the exact number, to be quite honest. It kind of changes. So
I got a white noise generator built into mine. So, we want to hop into mine.
I shrug. and start heading toward the other roadmaster. I was not going to volunteer a stranger to get into my car, so.
Okay.
But I guess it's not any better to get into a stranger car, so I don't know.
Oh, my longer strides let me get there, and I open the door for I open the doors for Curie and Violet before I get into the driver's seat.
I sit in the very, very back.
As is tradition.
Mm-hmm.
It is a long trip in a Roadmaster to the back of the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But I'm backing the whole way, like not turning my back to. I make it as awkward as I have to feel comfortable.
okay. So everybody gets in eventually.
Yep. So there was a guy who was busted in half.
Yeah. Obviously, Redstone isn't strong enough to do that or magical enough to do that because he wasn't magical, right? His was all science, no magic.
That's right.
Right. So the reason, clearly why, either someone's trying to blame Redstone for this occurring, or Redstone is covering up for someone else that's able to break people, but he doesn't seem like the type to get too roped into that. I bet it's his ex-wife. It's always his damn ex-wife. Now that I think about it, we should check on where she is. I want to check his house. I want to check Winter's house because she wasn't there either. So theoretically, if something happened to her as well, we could be walking in tomorrow as a trap, which I also don't like. So let's check our boxes before tomorrow's meet.
Okay. Just give me the address you want me to drive to.
Oh,
where are the places? So you have the address for Redstone's place.
Yep.
Because you've been there before. You do not have an address for Winter's house. You've never been to her home.
I'm going to do some research, like by Googling and do like background check information on. I've looked up my own addresses that way when I can't remember my past addresses.
Yep. So you can do a matrix search.
Okay.
Computer plus intuition.
Yeah. Intuition.
So, all right, intuition -1.
Yep. Intuition -1.
Well, it's if you just do unskilled intuition, that's fine. Or if you already have it set up, that's fine too. Okay. Yeah. So Winters is not a Shadowrunner.
Yeah.
She is a public figure. Not really famous or anything, but sort of a private citizen, legal. So there is a. You do see an address for a penthouse apartment in downtown.
Okay. Let's go there first because if she is there, then she can help advise on where to look or what might be going on or come with us or whatever. So
okay.
Let's go there first.
So you arrive at the penthouse apartment. It is the type of place that has it is secured entry. So it's the sort of thing where you have to broadcast, you have to flash the right pass to get on the elevator.
I 100% guarantee her apartment is warded. So, is her car in the lot? Can we see in the lot?
You have never seen her drive a vehicle, and she does not have one registered.
I did see her in a car once with Redstone when we handed over the ambulance.
That was Redstone's vehicle.
Oh, okay. All right.
Is there a guard in a guard station?
So it's sort of it's like an upscale apartment building. There's a guard concierge type figure at the front desk. It's the type of figure who would mostly it would be the interface with the apartment building. It would be the person who accepts packages, things of that nature.
Do you know what apartment is hers?
Yeah, it's apartment 4.
Do you think y'all could sneak by? Or check and see we need a key card or something to get on the elevator? I don't know how fancy this is.
My guess is probably when it says
as you take a drive by of the building, I mean it's not the most upscale building in downtown, but it's pretty upscale. And just looking at it, you're pretty sure you're going to need some sort of key card to get upstairs.
I mean, I've got some breaking and entering gear. The problem is that if it's something where there's somebody watching, I mean, I have to actually
I can make you invisible.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, Bob, it looks like we'll need SINs broadcasting for the doors to open for us?
Probably.
Okay. I can't get around that.
And it's in downtown Seattle, so it's that kind of neighborhood.
Yeah. I mean, if you made me invisible, I could climb up the wall in the snow and the cold, but I could do it and then break in through the outside. You said it's what floor is it on?
So this is only 12 stories.
We could also just wait for someone else to come in and walk in behind.
You wanna? Okay.
I've been setting up on this thing. They call it social engineering.
Yep. You wanna? Then I park in. Can I pull into the parking lot for this place?
So this building has an underground garage that is also gated. But there is a garage that's not too far from here.
Okay.
And there is some limited street parking, which is probably what you're looking for in a roadmaster.
Yeah. Okay. I'd park in a legal spot, make sure it's not going to get towed or something stupid, and
okay.
Walk in and Violet, do your walk in like you belong there. Hang on, I got some stuff. I grab a couple shopping bags I had from the back.
Okay.
And I look like I'm the guy carrying their stuff. I put on my chauffeur thing. I'm the guy carrying in their stuff after they were off Christmas shopping.
I'm wearing an armored lab coat.
I don't know. That was my...
You look natural. I don't.
Yeah, but they're not going to look that close. You're going to be her quirky. No. You're going to be her quirky friend.
Totally fine. Just, I think it's funny that while you are working so hard to blend in. I'm just here.
Yeah. Oh.
Do we have what the ex-wife looks like?
Oh yeah, you've met the ex-wife.
Oh, we go way back at this point, Jen.
Yeah.
We've encountered her like 4 times at this point. All of them a pain in the ass. Pain in the butt. Sorry, Gen Con TV. I got my one.
Pain in the hoop. That's the Shadowrun lingo.
Yeah. She has used other names though.
She has used other names, but you know this one to be as close as she has to an official name. It is the name that she was married under.
Mm-hmm.
Or her maiden name at least.
So I would like to use cosmetic control to basically shapeshift into as close as I can to what she looks like.
To her, we're at the apartment of Winters, not her.
Oh, I'm sorry. I completely misunderstood. I thought we were.
Yeah, we're at Winters' apartment first.
Okay. Then same, but for Winters.
All right. Let's see here. Probably. Probably changing into Winters is easier anyway, because you're not changing that drastically your size.
Right. Yeah.
And you have 1 level of it?
I do.
Okay. Okay, so you sort of you slowly morph into somebody that looks kind of like Winters. Except your, as I read the power, you still have your pointed ears.
Yeah.
And so it's a matter of creatively wearing a hat.
Basically, because I only have that 1 level.
Well, like all those old Star Trek: The Original Series episodes where Spock wears a hat, Spock wears a headband.
Violet, you look too pleasant. Look a bit more intense. Not blue steel. It's.
I'm doing the best. You said it's hands.
Oh, that was funny. Well done.
All right. So you have transformed yourself into a reasonable facsimile of Winters.
So my plan is to walk in through the front door and get over to the elevator and pat down my pockets, my purse, and then go back to the front desk with a story of how I left my keys upstairs or something like that. And if
you left your comm link upstairs,
yeah, I left my comm link upstairs. It'd be so kind as to buzz me in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blame.
And so the other 2 of you are going at the same time.
Yeah, we're coming to her place for a visit.
Yep.
Okay.
Is our story.
That's your story.
Feel free to blame me as the reason you forgot it to add some flavor to it. I do have a couple levels of con, so I actually got like a 6 dice pool, so I could assist.
I don't.
Yeah.
You're perfect just the way you are.
Right.
So you guys go in, and the person at the desk does sort of looks at you as you walk by, and you're trying to get on the elevator, and knowing you're going to fail, you go back and run this routine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And before we do, I'd like to watch to see if there's anybody else that walks in like ahead of us to see how they interact with this front desk person.
Okay, sure. Yeah, in fact, there are people who walk in. It's not like a steady stream of people, but I mean, it might not even be that hard to piggyback with someone. But you do see like someone walks in. They're doing shopping and stuff, so they have bags. They completely ignore the concierge and walk straight to the elevator.
Okay.
You get a sense that each time the person at the front desk sort of gauges, there are a couple of them that go by in sequence, and the front desk person has sort of varying responses based on how cold they think this person is. Should I say hi to this person? That's the sense you get.
So not overly friendly, but
right. You have not seen too many overly friendly people go into this building.
Okay.
Oh, then we should have said Kyrian because she'd fit right in.
Yeah. I live here.
So what?
And you get the sense that it's not as much about being unsociable. It's about people mind each other. People mind their own business.
Okay. So I got a plan and backup plan. So my plan is we just find somebody and walk in right behind them and just keep going to the elevator and let them swipe the card. And if that doesn't work, then we'll go back and I forgot my comp.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so you're able to time, and I'll ask you to make a con test at this point.
Would this be performance or just con?
I'll let you use performance if you have it.
I do. Why I ask these important questions.
Yes. Okay. So you time it just right. There's somebody with bags, and they go in, and they take long enough to open the door that you're kind of right behind them as they go in. They go to the elevator, and they don't even look at you. They go up, they scan their ID, the elevator opens, and you all walk in. And they press 7, and then they finally take notice that somebody has entered the elevator with them. Where to?
What floor were we going to?
12. You were going to 12. Okay. Ooh. So they press 12. And it's the sort of thing where they scan their ID again before they push the floor buttons.
Like hotels these days.
Yeah, like hotels these days.
Violet is channeling her inner Curie to not strike up conversations with random strangers in the elevator.
Okay. And you're in character with that 4 hits on performance. You're fully in character, and you're locking it down. And it seems to work. That person gets off on 7, and you are left in the elevator, just the 3 of you, on your way up to 12. And the elevator stops. The doors open at 12. And you step out into a little hallway, and there's it's basically just a little hallway. There's one elevator on each side. It's clear this is the top floor, but there are 4 apartments.
I take a look in the astral and see if they're all warded.
Okay. Go ahead and make an astral test. 5 hits. Okay. They're all warded.
Mm-hmm.
With 5 hits, you can tell. So the target apartment, as it were, is much more strongly warded than the others.
Of course it is.
But you get the sense that this is the kind of place where people would pay for mages to put up wards.
Yeah.
But this much stronger ward looks a lot like the wards on Winter's office.
Yeah. I look at actually remembering myself, I'm gonna knock on the door first.
Okay.
And listen to see if anything's happening on the inside.
All right, so you knock and go make a perception test. You don't hear anything.
I'll apologize later, and I'll look at Jay and then look at the doorknob.
Okay, what's the lock on the door?
It is a mag lock.
Okay. Okay. Maglock passkey then.
Okay.
You roll what do you roll for one of these?
That's what I'm looking up now. Where's my maglock passkey? Let's see. Maglock's 241.
It's got a rating, so I assume I just roll the rating.
Yes, you're gonna roll the passkey's rating times 2.
Okay. It's got wireless on, so it gives
That boosts the rating by 1.
Yep. Okay. So, all right. So then 10 dice.
Yeah, because if you're going to spend money on a passkey, you may as well buy the best.
Yeah,
it's that expensive, and that costly if it goes awry.
Right. That's the real expense. You know, everybody.
Yeah.
The 10.
Okay. So it takes you a couple of swipes with the pass key, but it does click, and the door opens.
Okay, before I move out of the way, look around, and then after I look around myself, I ask Giri, is it safe to walk in magically?
I'll peek into the open door from outside so that I'm not walking with my astral vision through the door, because I'm clarifying that, Bob, because I know you. I'm just peeking.
Yeah, so as you look through, you do sense the ward is there, and it's actually obscuring your vision astrally into the apartment.
I shut it off, walk in, turn it on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what you have to do. You turn off all your magic stuff. You walk in and you turn stuff back on.
Yep. Dumb wards. Being all helpful, I want one.
So you walk in, and with 4 hits on perception, Jay, you see inside, because you're not a sensing, you're just using perception.
Right.
So this place is, it's pretty nicely furnished, but with 4 hits, it looks to you like almost like a model apartment. This is a place that you get the definite sense it hasn't been lived in. And Curie, you confirm this as you sort of scan astrally. there is not the sort of emotion that would be tied to a place that is lived in.
You stupid smart slitch.
Violet, this place looked to you like it's the place you'd set up if you were running a con. You know, just has everything that you need, but never actually use any of it.
Yeah, it might be. It might be something you set up for fancy meetings or trying to impress folks.
Or having a decoy place so that if Shadowrunners come looking for you, you aren't here.
I mean, I don't have that personal experience, but I'd wager.
Off to Redstones, and I turn and leave.
All right.
Okay. I'm going to take a minute and do a matrix perception.
Okay.
Let's see. Think. No, I got that.
No.
What's the actual roll for that? It's been a bit.
Matrix perception, that'll be computer plus intuition.
I thought.
Okay. So you get, I mean, with one hit, I mean, you're not seeing much, but I mean, the apartment's sort of smart apartment system is definitely, it's wired into the building node.
Mm-hmm.
And you see where the control panel is and everything. And you do notice, by the way, this place is colder than you would expect. This is not a comfortable temperature for most people. It's almost like whoever lives here has had some modifications done to the air conditioning system, because it feels about 40 degrees at the warmest. 40 Fahrenheit.
Okay, that's awful close to pipe freezing level. So okay,
and you take a look around, and there's no running water. There's all of the food dispensers have been disabled. So it's not even really that great a place for entertaining. It's just a cold, fancy place.
Did he pick up any cameras that would have been taping us in the living area?
No.
Okay.
You don't catch any cameras. You do catch. There was a camera in that sort of outer hallway next to the elevator.
No, I figured this place there wasn't any way to avoid it, and I'm not that good of a decker. So, all right, I go out and see Curie waiting by. Well, is Curie waiting by the elevator, or is it? Or is she already?
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I think
Only because it hasn't opened yet.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
So I guess Violet as well, also waiting at the elevator.
Yeah.
Okay. So you all reunite at the elevator, and you guys get out without issue.
Okay.
By the way, as you've walked in and out, Violet, The person at the front desk does not even acknowledge you. The sense you get is that this person is not used to being addressed by Winters at all.
I'm going to text Winters and say, call me 911.
Must not make dad joke. Must not make dad joke.
You get a text back that says, away on business.
Can I send her a secure text somehow?
Yeah, you can try to encrypt a signal.
I probably saw someone do it once, right?
Best attempted if you're a decker, but it is certainly something you can try.
Okay.
It's even a legal action.
Okay, so what do I roll?
Electronics plus logic.
Okay, so default on logic. Luckily, I have 5 dice for that. What? Oh, okay. I thought I rolled a -1. I'm like, how is that possible?
You're so bad at it that you rolled negative hits. No, so you roll 1 hit. So that is the encryption rating of the message that you send. And what is that message?
Dead body of mobster in Redstone's car. Redstone missing.
You get a message back that is equally encrypted. So I will need a crack file. Normally this is an illegal action, but since it was sent to you, it'll be treated as a legal action. It is cracking plus logic.
So another default on logic.
Mm-hmm. And technically that's opposed by twice the rating. Okay. So as you open the file, it just says proceed as instructed.
I'm gonna send back an eye roll emoji.
Wow. Fully unencrypted. Okay.
So that anyone looking at it says, away on business, rolls eyes. All right. I still want to check out Redstone's DOS.
Okay. So you guys have left. You've left the apartment, the penthouse apartment of Winters. You're back in the vehicle and headed toward Redstone's place. And you've been there before. It's sort of a mid-level apartment, sort of medium security. You guys were able to get in without too much trouble.
Mm.
So in fact, I won't even make you roll for it because you got in before pretty easily.
I would like to do an astral surveillance.
Sure.
Not only looking for Redstone, but looking for any aura symbol of what's her face that I hate.
Okay.
I won't learn her name because I don't like her.
Is just describing somebody by what's her face that you hate, is that really describing people?
More specific?
Yeah.
Because I said her. If I had said him, then we wouldn't have known who.
That's
But
fair.
since I said her, there's only one her I hate so far, I think.
Okay. So go ahead and make your. We'll go and make you have an sensing test with astral signatures,
Okay.
and that'll cover your astral recon.
What?
Ooh.
Yeah, we're gonna post edge that.
Wow. Yeah, you've got 7 edge. You may as well spend some of it.
Yeah.
That's an
accept
11
that.
dice.
I reject.
Ooh. You know, Bob's being nice to you now.
By letting me post edge?
But by not making you have bad luck for that roll?
Yeah.
Oh. Thanks, Bob.
Because for our Patreon, Bob, you did get you do have a set
Tom,
of
shut up.
stuff. You do have
Shut up.
a bunch
Shut
of stuff.
Shut up.
That's all right. I still have some edge that Ava gave me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But in any case, you've re-rolled, so I'll let your new roll stand. You've spent your 4 edge. And so you run the surveillance. You find much the same stuff as before in the rest of the building. You get into Redstone's place. There's no warding or anything, just like before.
Yeah.
And just like before, you do see a little Watcher spirit hanging up in the corner. And the Watcher spirit has the sort of spectral form of a small frog.
Not again. We've already played this campaign or this mission, Bob.
But we're in the time loop episode.
Because I'm just mad at this point. No, the Watcher spirits don't deserve that. I wanted to go up and grab it and just squeeze it till it disappeared. That's what I wanted to do. But I'm going to hit it with a mana bolt to get it out of here.
Okay.
I don't care if they know we're here.
So go ahead and cast your mana bolt.
Okay. Magic. Hold on, I have to scroll through my so many spells that I have now.
Flex without telling me you're flexing.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. 5 hits. Okay. And so I'm going to make a roll on it. So. Okay. So as it's getting ready, and you sense it is an actual Watcher spirit and not a regular spirit. The difference here you think is critical, because as it goes to sort of hop out through the window, you tag it with a mana bolt and it just bursts. The difference between a Watcher and it's typically a Watcher, not a Watcher spirit. A Watcher doesn't have the direct mind link with its summoner.
Oh, it's a Watcher?
It's a Watcher. So it would have to report back to its summoner.
Good.
To report in.
Good. Now they know something's here and they don't know what.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if it were a full-fledged spirit, its summoner would know.
I'm going to think about that while I search the anything else. Just the Watcher spirit. No sign of redstone. No sign of.
No sign of redstone. You do sense as you're looking around, the place has been pretty. I mean, it's fairly subtle, but it has been tossed.
I hate this chick. I'm going to go back to my body and say, no one's there. There was a Watcher spirit by the frog shaman. So she's hired her old friends to get involved.
A frog shaman? Okay.
Now,
Not fun.
when you say to get involved, are they working for her or against her?
I assume for her because they're watching him. Maybe my assumptions are taking a step too far. Maybe she's not involved at all. And I look pointedly at Violet.
I think you're fibbing right there.
Just trying to keep an open mind despite the fact that it's her.
Okay. So.
And the place has been tossed, so.
Where are we? Do we want to check out the cove?
In preparation for tomorrow, yes, I think we can and should. That's another stop we can make. But I think if there's two places I think we can go that are really going to actually answer some questions rather than cause more. And one of those is to find her. And the other is to perhaps go to the restaurant and talk to the mob men themselves.
You just want to ask them if they broke their buddy in half?
Found your friend missing. You want to get revenge on the people involved? We do too. I would never be friends with them, but let's be accomplices.
Sometimes they call that a team up.
So if you go to
chummy.
the memory test, please. And Violet, you can do this as well.
Memory.
Okay. So it occurs to the both of you that last you saw this Luigi Bianco, this was the guy who was stalking you guys outside the Green Mansion, and you guys turned, or maybe it was just Mr. Bell who turned this guy over to the concierge, and that is the last time you saw this guy. And with your 3 hits on memory, the guy you saw broken in half was definitely wearing a Mr. Bell-like suit. Dark suit, green tie.
Violet, is this the guy, the maitre d'? Was he the one that we handed over to the concierge?
I think you're right. There's that weird room and we got really bad snacks.
And he was the here, and I put a hand on Violet's shoulder and cast Mind Link, and I show her what I saw in Redstone's car.
Okay.
So she'll see the guy, how he's broken, and what the clothes he was wearing.
Yep.
Does he look like he's dressed?
He's dressed a lot like Mr. Bell usually dresses. This is the point in a Call of Cthulhu campaign where I'd ask for sanity check.
I think we need to have a conversation with Mr. Bell. Perhaps, I mean, the fact that Redstone's place has been tossed and this guy has been found in Redstone's car. Redstone is still involved in some way, but the last time we saw this guy was at the mansion. So how did you get from the mansion, broken, well, we know how he got broken, to Mr. Bell's car? Or to Redstone's car, rather.
Did you check to see if he had a comm link on him or anything like that?
I left pretty quickly with standing in an open parking lot looking over a dead body. I just thought I'd go.
It's generally a good idea.
Did we have his comm code information?
Bianco's?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you had his comm code.
Did we?
I believe he gave it to Nova at one point.
Oh yeah, because she flirted with him.
Flirted with him at the restaurant.
Weirdo.
Right before she used that to have you guys kidnap him.
So I think that
So weirdo professional sort of thing.
We could absolutely go by the mansion and talk with the Mr. Bell or the concierge and see what they have to say. We might also be able to call the comm company, or maybe find a decker who can get some records of triangulations and those sorts of things. Maybe track his movements. I don't know. I saw it on a TRID. I assume it's a thing.
It's a thing, but not as much as TRID's way over exaggerated.
But do we
way too many holograms?
What do we track him or do we track the concierge?
Oh, you said concierge is at this mansion?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd leave magic there. I feel like they'd find it immediately. In terms of the surveillance I can provide. Anyway.
This like a hotel concierge? You just go up and talk to them. Or am I out of my depth here?
The second one.
Okay.
They use words like it's a fancy hotel, but what they provide services of a different kind.
It's a murder hotel.
Oh, okay. Because my mind was going someplace else that I really didn't want to bring up. Okay, a murder hotel. Oh, so.
But the hotel doesn't do the murder, and it's the folks inside that do the murder.
Okay, well that.
As far as I know.
That doesn't make as good a horror movie, but. So you don't want to go talk to the concierge and ask?
We could ask. I don't know how forthcoming they might be.
Oh.
What do you think, Miss Curie? You think that might tip our hand, so to speak?
Maybe. Why don't we let's mull it over and check out the cove to make sure we're not walking into an ambush tomorrow. And let's walk and let's go to see if we can track down and keep an eye on what's a face.
Okay. Toss me the address and I'll drive us to the cove.
I'll give it to him.
Okay. How's the Tower of the Roads with the weather?
Since you ask, they're just bad enough that I will ask you for a piloting test.
Okay.
Grid Guide is starting to sling cars into each other.
Ah, nice.
3 hits is enough. And you were able to get there. And at this point, since we're at the, I believe it's 10 o'clock Eastern, we'll go to our second break.
That's my cue again. So, friendos, do you know what to do on breaks? I think you do at this point. On breaks, you're going to type in #REMPC in the chat so that you can be entered to win, which this week's giveaway is the full omnibus, which is 6 novellas that make up one story. Each novella is by a different renowned sci-fi author. And so we've got DJ Bodden, we've got Jennifer Brozek, we've got Kevin Steverson, we've got Kevin McLaughlin, we've got William Allen Webb, and we've got the notorious Kevin J. Anderson. So they all worked on this series called The Tears of Perseus, and the 6th book isn't even out yet, and they gave us the full set to give to someone. So really cool stuff by these really cool authors that, you know, if you want to read something brand new that just came out from the guy that like is literally on the set of Dune at any given point, hashtag REMPC. Don't forget that bits and subs will also get you bonus entries to win. And we'll do the drawing at the end of the show. So we'll see you in 10 minutes, REMPCs.
And we're out.
Yeah. In the city of Neo-Babylon, full of powerful magic and emerging cyber technology, the authorities say that they know what's best, but only ever seem to help themselves. That's where you come in. If the powerful won't help, you'll just have to get things done on your own. Hey folks, I'm Opti, the founder of Fragging Unicorns Games and creator of the Subversion RPG. In Subversion, you and your friends play as envoys, representatives of your communities taking direct action to serve and save the people around you. But there's a catch. Both characters and communities have values that are important to them. Trying to subvert an oppressive world around you while also holding true to those values isn't an easy task. Neo-Babylon is a world much like our own, but where magic and wondrous things have always existed. And the ancient Babylonian Empire was the first to wield that magic to conquer and assimilate their enemies. Now, in Neo-Babylon, communities struggle against oppressive arcane elites, faceless corporate masters, and all kinds of authorities that have boots aimed at their necks. So if you want to play a game where you can encounter wondrous creatures, breach computer systems, bend magic to your will, search out lost civilizations, steal from the rich, and give to the poor, Subversion might be for you. But if you're looking for a game where your values truly matter and building up your community is just as important as destroying unjust systems of control, Subversion is absolutely for you.
You get to play with us now, which is so exciting. So with channel points, bits, and subscribes, you can give rewards to the player of your choice. So how to do that is, no, not Bob. Channel points, I believe it is 500 points, gets you NERPs, which is +3 to any dice roll to the player of your choice. For 1,000 channel points, you can do a point of edge to any player. And for 2,500 channel points, you can do 4 edge to the player of your choice. Now for bits, for 100 bits, that's $1, you can do the NERPs. For 200 bits, that's $2, you can do the point of edge. Or for 500 bits, that's $5, get 4 edge to give to the player of your choice. And finally, again, the subs, if you subscribe, you can give 4 edge to any player.
What a spell! Spell! She says spell like 92 times. Spell.
Ready to level up your cosplay game? Check out the Geek Forge on Etsy. With a variety of props to give your photos that extra spark, you'll find just what you need. Hold magical fire in the palm of your hand, or take a potion to restore your mana. With a large variety of colors, you can choose your own magical flavor for your cosplay. Bring drama to your photo shoots with these vibrant props and more, all available at the Geek Forge. Are you ready to level up your cosplay?
Hey, folks, thanks for sticking around.
Welcome back. We are just driving through the snow to the cove that two of our runners have been to before. Ironically, it's the one who hasn't been there before who's actually doing the driving.
Truth.
So with 3 hits on your piloting test, you were able to dodge traffic, as it were. You dodge all the slip and slide grid guide cars. Also because there are fewer of them on the street than normal.
Yeah, I mean, as they
So you drive into a warehouse district in Everett. It's kind of close to the naval base, but not uncomfortably so. But you do arrive, and you find that I mean, there's no road that leads you down to the cove. There's a parking lot that's maybe 100 meters at closest from the cove. There is there's a warehouse. The closest warehouse is a pile of rubble. For those of us who went into that underground laboratory, that is the warehouse that is rubble.
Mm.
But it's been, it got blown up months ago. This was early in our campaign. But you do see a couple of other vehicles that are parked there. You do see, none of them are as big as a Roadmaster. One is close. You do see, show this to the players, a 2042 Ford Canada Bison. And this is a large dark green van. And you think, as you think back in your memory, because you've been to the Green Mansion before, this is one of those mostly repaired or ill-repaired vehicles that was sort of off to the side, sort of a service vehicle for the mansion.
I roll my eyes at Violet and then go astral to go check it out.
Okay.
I'm getting crankier as today goes on.
Okay. So go ahead and make an sensing test for astral. You may make signatures as well. Okay. So as you peek your head into, so you sort of do it once around. You peek your head into this old Ford Canada Bison, and you see a couple of things, or a couple of people. One of them is Luigi Bianco, dressed as a green tie associate.
Alive.
But as you are sensing him, and with 5 hits, it is an illusory person. You also see in the passenger seat Redstone. But Redstone doesn't look like Redstone's aura. This looks like someone who is masked to look like Redstone. And you're just getting a sense of a much larger aura. And it's then, as Redstone turns toward you, this is the aura you see. Appears to be a white dragon.
Nope. 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 Nope.
and you hear in your head, you hear the voice of Winters. You're just in time for the show. The schedule apparently was moved forward.
Are you evil?
What an odd question to ask a dragon.
Are you really?
No, I'm not evil.
That's what someone evil would say. I'm gonna zip back to my body. So don't know if you knew this. I didn't know this. Winters is a dragon. We are dealing with a dragon.
What? Why would I know that?
How would I know that?
That's a really good question. Why would I know that?
Who's Winters?
Oh, that's the lady that I looked like a little earlier today.
Yeah, apparently our meeting is actually now because we're all here and I'm scared. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why we're here, but be prepared to fight and run if we need to.
I'm always prepared to fight.
You also see another vehicle approaching. It is a bulldog step van.
I want to go. I'm still like, I am freaked out, Bob. So I'm going to go astral again. So I come back, I'm like, dragon, that's a dragon. Did you know she was a dragon? And then I'm passed back out as I go into the next car and see who's in that one because I need to know.
Is she always like this? So excitable?
No.
Not usually the opposite.
I'm
concerned.
It sounded like she was going to burst into an old Disney song for a second there.
No, if she did that, we would have to go to some sort of emergency street doc right away. If she starts singing, we're in real trouble.
So go ahead and make another astral test.
Oh God. Signatures?
Sure. Okay. These are the people you've probably been expecting. These are your best friends in the world. Zoe Leland and her Iceland dwarf uncles. So there are 5 of them in the vehicle. Zoe plus 1 or plus 4.
I kind of
and they sort of park. It's that sort of Shadowrunner meet distance in front of the Ford Canada Bison.
I slow drift back to the car and my body and come to and go, this might be fine.
And you see another vehicle approaching.
Oh, Drek.
This one is an SUV.
I'm gonna go look at that one.
Okay.
Come back. This might be fine.
I won't make you roll again for that. This one is in the passenger seat.
Oh God.
Is your friend the frog shaman? And in the driver's seat is someone you've met before as well. So Piper Allison, you'll remember, is a female elf who replaced Zoe Leland as a Johnson at MCT when she got fired.
Yeah, back to the car, and I'm gonna go. All right, so ex-wife and dwarves are in that car. Frog shaman and what's a face that took over at MCT is in that car. The dragon Winters said to enjoy the show. So I think we just sit here for now, and maybe the dragon solves all of our problems with them and we drive away easily. That sounds realistic.
Okay.
This is a really strange birthday party.
I have indigestion. I'm very upset right now.
Behind the seat, second pouch, there's some Stuffer Shack Pepto.
Thanks. I don't ingest anything from strangers, though.
Okay. I'm going to open up the backpack behind my seat and take out the bow.
Okay. So the SUV pulls up, and it's this sort of it pulls up along like one edge, so it's like two cars facing each other, and the third one comes in, and it forms this sort of it's a now a fairly well lit but snowy arena. As everybody gets out of their car, everybody gets out of the SUV and everybody gets out of the Bulldog, and they're all like weapons ready to go. And it's clear to Violet, at least, that those two vehicles were not expecting to show up. At this point, the Bison opens up, and what you're seeing is the Green Tie Associate, Bianco, is leading a shackled Redstone toward the center of the arena.
Oh, come on. You just don't do that to gnomes.
And so the Green Tie Associate, you see the familiar Mr. Bell-like smile cross its face. And it's not quite as creepy as Mr. Bell, but it is very customer service fake smile.
Okay, that's just creepy.
And he says, bag delivery for you. And Leland goes to walk up. And at that point, everything erupts. Apparently what you're seeing is the elf Johnson, Piper Allison, and the frog shaman are intruders to this process, and they don't like that Redstone's being handed off to the dwarves. And so a combat erupts. Are you going to interfere or watch for now?
Violet, this is your show. Whose side are we on?
I am really unclear. The dragon lady said that we were in time for the show, so unless Miss Curie wants to step in for Redstone, I don't know. This is wild. This is OK Corral level stuff here,
Mm-hmm.
and no one got out of that alive.
And so what you see happens while you're discussing this is the dwarves turn on the frog shaman and Piper, and they start fighting amongst themselves. And as Zoe Leland separates herself from the dwarves and goes toward Redstone, that's when Green Tie Associate vanishes. Redstone sort of breaks out of the shackles in such a way that he doesn't stop growing until there is a full-size white dragon filling much of the arena. And that's where everybody starts either running or shooting or just being frozen. And so what ends up happening is that all of them concerned have been, unless you interfere with this, the dragon basically freezes and eats people. And then at some point, everything goes quiet. It's almost quiet enough that you can hear the drifting snow. And as things become quiet, the dragon shrinks into Dr. Winters. Who then turns to your vehicle. And just looks at you.
Violet will take the bottle of Stuffer Jack Pepto and like hand it out the window. In case that frog gave you some indigestion, I know they're not easy to keep down.
They're all easy enough to swallow once they've been cooked properly.
That is a true statement. Yes, ma'am. Friend?
I do want to thank you for your role in this. It was your team who discovered the ongoing threat against my friend Redstone. Redstone and I exchanged comlinks, by the way. By now he's in Iceland.
I'm glad you clarified because I wasn't sure if you were also Redstone. There was a lot of change in happening.
No, Redstone is exceptional, but Redstone is actually a gnome. And now you have seen why, and she levels her gaze at Curie, and now you have seen why I'm interested in insurance policies. You can keep what's left. And there's a little extra special in the back of the van.
Thank you.
Good night, then. And she sort of walks into the snow, and as she's sort of almost enveloped by the snow and the fog that has arisen, and she departs the scene. And now we're left with the three of you.
Okay, well, let's go see what she left us.
I hope it's not body parts.
She looked like she doesn't look like the type to leave pieces behind.
I don't know. Maybe she's a picky eater.
Wow, darling. This was not what I thought my night would be like. Walk up to the van.
Okay. So you walk up to the van, and you open the van and you take a look through, and sure enough, you do find in the back there is a case, and inside the case are 3 gold bars. And you, does any of you have any sort of like jeweler experience or? maybe investment experience, any sort of financial knowledge?
I'm checking, but I don't think so.
Only the financial scams I've seen on social media.
Okay, go ahead and make a memory test, Violet. This will be a little bit higher threshold. But with that, that will do. You get there are all sorts of gold scams, just like there are in present day. People trying to get you to buy gold when gold is already very expensive. And you estimate each of these, if the scams are to be believed, each of these gold bars is worth about 50,000 new yen.
Oh.
And they are marked in a, each of them has a seal on it. That looks a lot, the text looks a lot like the text that was in the book that you guys bought at the auction. So it looks like it would be Icelandic.
Okay.
Well, it could be 50,000. It could be 5,000. It could be 5. I'm not real good at this sort of thing.
Well,
I do know you should not invest your money in Dragon Coin. That's not a real thing. I checked.
Well, if it's gold, it's heavy. Should be worth our trouble tonight.
Yeah, so you get the sense, if you had to pick between 50,000, 5,000, or 5, you would guess 50,000. So
well,
given a choice of orders of magnitude, you would guess the tens of thousands.
Plus, you know a mechanic or someone who's willing to deal in creatively acquired vehicles.
I'm sure we could find someone. Are you looking to get a second vehicle?
No, I'm just looking to there's nobody left to use these. So I was just gonna I don't know. Actually, I don't think I want to get that close to this. I don't think I want a connection to this.
We could push him in the lake.
Oh, at this point, we could just walk away. I mean, we got the gold bar. There's no evidence we were here other than my tire tracks. There's enough snow that won't be a problem.
You think any tire tracks you leave will probably be covered within the hour?
Yeah. And honestly, it's not like we did anything illegal. I mean,
Not too illegal anyway.
yeah. I mean, we entered, but we really didn't break anything. Didn't hurt anybody. This is a pretty good payday for not having to break the law.
Is there anything else in your in the van?
Assorted weaponry. So you do see there's a shotgun, there's a pistol, there are a few knives, and there's assorted breaking and entering gear. Nothing electronic, but sort of like climbing gear, crowbars, things like that.
Well, then I reckon we best skedaddle. That was not a quiet event.
All right. So you guys get into into the Roadmaster and depart the scene?
Unless Kiri wanted to do something.
I'm going to take the Canadian Ford.
The Ford Canada Bison?
You want the Bison?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
This looks really nice, and she just walked away and did not drive it, so I don't think she wants it.
So this is the vehicle that, if you recall, this was the vehicle it's an older vehicle. It's like the service van for the Green Mansion.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm all for the awkward next time, but...
Yeah, I'll still take it, because I'd like to see what Mr. Bell has to say when I pull up in this.
Okay.
Jay has engineering, and he'll break it for her so that she can steal it.
Okay. Yes, you guys have no trouble. In fact, it's kind of throwback technology. So the good news is it's throwback technology. The bad news is it does not have a pilot program.
You just really want me to make a driving test, Bob.
I kind of do.
What is that? Like agility?
Reaction.
So
reaction? Oh. Well, at least agility, I only have one die, so if I default, I don't roll anything. So reaction, I can handle. You want me to roll it?
Sure.
-1.
One hit. Okay. Fortunately, this van is heavy enough that it's not really slipping and sliding around the snow like most passenger cars would be. So you kind of take it slow, and you manage to drive it off without too much trouble.
Okay.
So with that, having stolen the Green Mansion's van, having made a deal with the dragon,
I don't like that.
and having concluded the Redstone arc, we will go to our final break. This is your last chance to type hashtag REMPC.
Yeah, do that thing. Hashtag REMPC in the chat for your free entry to win our giveaway tonight, which is the omnibus of the 6 novella story series that tells one consecutive story together. It's written by 6 famous sci-fi authors, including Kevin J. Anderson, who is, if you don't know, known for Star Wars and Dune and 180 books total that I've learned is his magic number as of right now. So holy crap. It's a cool series. It's a cool premise. The way they collaborated and worked together is super awesome. And you can get a digital set of all 6 books, which includes the 6th novella that has not yet been released. And it can be yours. So type in hashtag REMPC, donate bits and subs in the chats for additional entries, and we'll do the drawing as soon as we're back.
And we'll be back right back.
Yeah.
In the city of Neo-Babylon, full of powerful magic and emerging cyber technology, the authorities say that they know what's best, but only ever seem to help themselves. That's where you come in. If the powerful won't help, you'll just have to get things done on your own. Hey folks, I'm Opti, the founder of Fragging Unicorns Games and creator of the Subversion RPG. In Subversion, you and your friends play as envoys, representatives of your communities taking direct action to serve and save the people around you. But there's a catch. Both characters and communities have values that are important to them. Trying to subvert an oppressive world around you while also holding true to those values isn't an easy task. Neo-Babylon is a world much like our own, but where magic and wondrous things have always existed. And the ancient Babylonian Empire was the first to wield that magic to conquer and assimilate their enemies. Now, in Neo-Babylon, communities struggle against oppressive arcane elites, faceless corporate masters, and all kinds of authorities that have boots aimed at their necks. So if you want to play a game where you can encounter wondrous creatures, breach computer systems, bend magic to your will, search out lost civilizations, steal from the rich, and give to the poor, Subversion might be for you. But if you're looking for a game where your values truly matter and building up your community is just as important as destroying unjust systems of control, Subversion is absolutely for you.
You get to play with us now, which is so exciting. So with channel points, bits, and subscribes, you can give rewards to the player of your choice. So how to do that is, no, not Bob. Channel points, I believe it is 500 points, gets you NERPs, which is +3 to any dice roll to the player of your choice. For 1,000 channel points, you can do a point of edge to any player. And for 2,500 channel points, you can do 4 edge to the player of your choice. Now for bits, for 100 bits, that's $1. You can do the NERPs. For 200 bits, that's $2. You can do the point of edge. Or for 500 bits, that's $5. Get 4 edge to give to the player of your choice. And finally, again, the subs, if you subscribe, you can give 4 edge to any player.
What a spell. She says spell like 92 times. Spell.
Ready to level up your cosplay game? Check out the Geek Forge on Etsy. With a variety of props to give your photos that extra spark, you'll find just what you need. Hold magical fire in the palm of your hand, or take a potion to restore your mana. With a large variety of colors, you can choose your own magical flavor for your cosplay. Bring drama to your photo shoots with these vibrant props and more, all available at the Geek Forge. Are you ready to level up your cosplay?
Thanks for sticking around, folks. We are back.
Welcome back. I think we have a winner.
We do. I'm still sitting in my feelings. So, got to take a moment. But we do have a winner. So, for the really, really super cool set of the Tears of Perseus, our winner is Isabits. Congratulations, Isabits. I believe I have your email. So I will make sure that you get your copies. Congratulations for those of you who didn't win but are still interested in the Tears of Perseus series. Ava will drop the link in the chat for us so that you can get your very own copy of each of the first 5 novellas. And I believe the last one drops within the next 2 weeks. And then in March, the complete set will be available. And they even said that eventually there will be an audio book version as well. So lots of great stuff. Congratulations again, Isabits. And do we have anything else to talk about?
Do we want to do a roundabout? Do you guys want to talk about stuff?
Sure.
So Jen, I'll put you on the spot first.
I'm Jen. I played Violet this evening. I also run the Geek Forge, which is the super cool commercial that you've been seeing. We're at thegeekforge.etsy.com and working on some really exciting stuff over there. So come join us on our Facebook group if you want to be more involved with that. And yeah, got some super cool stuff coming up. Also, I play more Shadowrun shenanigans on Tuesdays and every other Wednesdays on twitch.tv/Master of REM.
And you GM'd Shadowrun recently.
I did. I had my first live stream GMing of Shadowrun, so you should go over there and watch all of the ums and ahs that I included.
Join the club.
It happens.
Cool. Jen is awesome.
I'm Tom, or Teslan. I do a lot of different things. Right now, I'm running tech, and I play some Shadowrun, and I GM a lot of it, both here and at conventions. If you're interested in playing Shadowrun with us, check out our Discord that Ava just dropped into the chat. There's plenty of opportunities to play either on stream or just normal games over Discord.
Hey, Tom, I think we all froze for a moment there. I don't know if that's us, me, my system, or...
No, I saw it on Twitch. So I think we've unfrozen by now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you haven't.
Just wanted to make sure.
Okay, yep. So yes, we've unfrozen. So yeah, what else? You
Sorry, I threw you
off
off
now. Yep.
You're off your groove.
Yep. They're all groove. So anyways, check out the Discord. We've got a great community of gamers. And there's a lot of games going on. If you want a little bit more than that, check out our Discord or check out our Patreon, where there are opportunities to play. Everybody who joins our Patreon gets to play it first, and it helps offset some of the costs of putting on these streams and offering the games. I think that's it for now. Sarah? Or Rem?
Hi guys. I'm Rem. My secret identity has been revealed. But I am the CEO of REM ALTERNIS, and gosh, it's been such a busy quarter. Yeah, totally get on our Discord. Our Patreon is super cool. We're going to be dropping, our newest thing that we're going to be dropping there is outtakes from Opti recording the Neo-Anarchist podcast for Shadowcasters Network. So if you want to see Opti swear a whole bunch, you should go to our patreon.com/REM ALTERNIS, and it should be a hoot. He's delightful. We in other news, we have just launched the Shadowcasters Network, or relaunched. So we are now producing their content, and we've been releasing all of our other Shadowrun media over there weekly, so you can catch up on from the beginning of the Chicago missions of Shadowrun 5th edition, Shadowrun Denver, which is 6th edition. Old episodes of Emerald Glitch are going to be there. And we have plans for lots more. But the big news is that the day after tomorrow, which is Saturday, January 7th, at 2 p.m. Eastern, is going to be the premiere of the Neo-Anarchist vidcast with Opti and the Arcology podcast with Mr. Johnson. So these have only been podcasts before. Opti's is going to be a pre-recorded video cast, so it's going back to his first episodes and re-recording as vid, so you can get all the Shadowrun history all over again, and then and catch up on 30 years of lore, because that's a lot. And Arcology podcast has taken a hiatus, so it is now back, and it's going to be a live stream first before it comes to podcasts. So Mr. Johnson will be there to answer questions and talk about all the sixth world news going on. So yeah, cool stuff. So lots coming in the new year as well. But the big thing right now is Shadowcasters Network and our Patreon. I did it. Bob.
You did it. And I'm Bob, your GM. Aside from Emerald Glitch, I also GM over on twitch.tv/Master of REM. On Tuesday nights, I run the 5th edition Chicago missions. And we were off this week, but next week we are jumping right into Season 8, the final season of the Chicago missions arc.
Nice.
Come see lots of bugs.
No.
It's a fun season, folks.
It is.
It is a breakneck pace.
Yep.
Yep, it is. I think it was when I got into Shadowrun, I got into Season 7. Season 8 was my first season.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I played missions, and oh god.
Season 8 that can be a rough place to just jump in.
Yep. Oh, don't get attached to your characters, guys. Awesome. Sorry, I interrupted you because I was excited. Go ahead, Bob.
I was going to say that I think next week on Roll with Rem is the one shot, right?
Holy crap! Yeah, I should talk about that. So, Shadowrunners will take a break because they're going to need lots of therapy after dealing with the dragon.
Curie has to come to terms with their life choices, apparently.
Actually, I lied because Curie's going to be here next week. I forgot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so Curie and I'm not sure which character Chris is bringing, but Chris Walker from our Tuesday night Shadowrun game is going to be bringing his character on. And apparently we're getting into some Seattle trouble that we're going to need help getting out of a sticky situation. So we're going to be calling a new company called Exit Vector. Now, out of character for a moment here. Exit Vector is a new cyberpunk fantasy minis aerial combat game. So this is for your riggers. So basically, this is coming to Kickstarter, and it is system agnostic. So whatever game you have, if you have space fighters, if you have in-world, out-of-world, whatever you want it to be, you have land vehicles, you have aerial vehicles, and you can get into fights. So a lot of times, riggers feel a little shunted to the side. So this is a way that you can kind of pause your game for 30 to 45 minutes and actually have your vehicle combat fight and then go back into the game. So we're going to demonstrate that by playing Shadowrun and then needing to be extracted from the Seattle tower. And then Exit Vector will come in and we'll all play the minis game and you guys will see how it works. And then you'll be as excited as we are. So you can go back the Kickstarter, which we do actually have a pre-launch page now. If Ava can drop that in, you could even follow it right now and get all the news as we continue to update it. So yeah, that's
awesome.
That's next week.
So that's next week. Okay. And then the week after, we'll be back with more Emerald Glitch.
Yep. And Bob will continue to torture us.
So that's all I have for tonight. And we are pretty close to the 11 o'clock hour Eastern. So we will wrap it and see you guys in the next week or two.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Night, everybody.
Oh, good night, guys.